Voices is the newest feature to the DOA channel. This is a podcast where the outdoors comes alive from the people who live it. Each episode brings you face-to-face with hunters, anglers, and adventurers as they share their stories, their lessons, and their voices. More than just tales of the wild, Voices dives into the person behind the adventure, capturing the grit, gratitude, and wisdom that make outdoor life unforgettable. Available in both audio and video, every conversation is posted on YouTube so you can see and hear the stories as they unfold. For years, I've invited you into the raw wilderness that captures those moments of the outdoors, standing just yards away from big game, feeling the surge of adrenaline as an arrow leaves the string, and sharing the flood of emotions that follow a harvest. Alongside the triumphs, I've opened up about the hard lessons and the mental battles that come with facing the wild landscapes of Alberta. These experiences have built a foundation of authenticity and connection with my audience, and now I'm expanding that journey. Voices is where I bring in the people who inspire me. Hunters, anglers, and adventurers, so together we can share their voices, their challenges, and their outdoor journeys with the community that we're building. Voices, a podcast by DOA, Doorward Outdoor Adventures. Voices is brought to you in part by Wapiti River Outdoors. Every elk hunt tells a story, and mine begin with Wapiti River elk reeds, crafted locally here in Alberta. Their calls are built for authenticity, and they've become the voice I rely on in the backcountry. Visit WapitiRiverOutdoors.com for all your elk reeds, bugle tubes, elk accessories, and trail cameras. Welcome, everybody, to the live episode of Voices. This is your episode with Travis O'Shea of Wapiti River. And as I'm watching behind the scenes here, he was having trouble logging in and he was having an echo, and I'm waiting for him to come back and join us live. So this is one of those opportunities of when things don't go right, how do you do them? But I'm waiting for Travis to come in. So first of all, thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of their night to join me. I know the Oilers aren't playing tonight, but we're trying to schedule this between Oiler games. We have Steve's online watching as well. He's out east in Ontario, and the Leafs aren't playing tonight, so he's got some free time so he can join us. But wherever you are and whatever you were doing, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. So I'm going to go ahead with the intro for Travis, and hopefully he will come back on and I'll be able to pop him on screen with me momentarily. But tonight we're joined by a man whose name is woven into the sounds of the Elkwoods, Travis O'Shea, who is the owner and operator of Wapiti River Outdoors, one of the most respected voices in elk calling today. He handcrafts some of the finest elk reeds out there. He builds gear that real hunters rely on and backs it all with decades of experience in the field. He's a top 3 World Elk Calling Championship finalist. He's a teacher at heart and someone who never hesitates to share his knowledge so others can succeed. Whether you're a seasoned elk caller or just learning to make your first cow mew, Travis has helped hunters across North America level up their game. And tonight, out of his busy schedule, he's here with us live, hopefully soon, ready to go and ready to answer your questions, talk elk hunting, and pull back that curtain on what it really takes to master the language of the Wapiti. So settle in, get your questions ready, and we will welcome him right away, Mr. Travis O'Shea of Wapiti River. My buddy Daryl, how are you, bud?
Hi, sorry. Good. Yeah, I just muted my microphone just in case you guys are getting feedback or something. So I
No, all
yeah.
good.
But yeah, it's a good night. The Oilers won last night. Everyone's excited.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can keep the ball rolling in that court because they sure had the fuel to the fire last night. We need to see more of that. And I think I seen your little prayer overseas there. You were at the Vatican. Who it was?
That I was. Yeah, we were.
It worked. It worked.
It worked. I did a couple while I was over there. And,
yeah. There's no better place.
I didn't think I'd have to pull that out until a little bit later in the playoffs, but
getting down 3 games. Yeah, everyone must then fly to the Vatican to then do a prayer for the Oilers. And hey, it worked last night, so get ready to get on the plane again.
For sure. All right, there we go. Looks like Travis is back. We'll see what happens here. Travis O'Shea. Is it working? Tell me.
What are you doing?
Is it echoey on your end?
Yeah, it's still echoey on my end. I can hear you, but before I came, yeah, it's weird.
Do you have 2 windows open by chance? Like, are you running the YouTube channel and something else, or?
Maybe. Don't. I got your voices and then a StreamYard audio, it says. Not sure what that is. Let me close this out and see.
You betcha. And he's gone. well, we have a couple people here. Let's add a people. Steve, Daryl, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to meet you.
I appreciate you guys wearing the DOA lids. I thank you for that. All the support that you guys have given me all over the years. I appreciate it. Can't tell you how much it means to me. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And just so you know, I could hear Travis fine. The audio was okay. And there was no feedback thing on my end. So it was good.
It does that sometimes. I don't know why it does. If they have a couple things open, they just hear an echo and it's like a 10-second delay. And that's all they hear coming back. And it's, yeah, but I mean, that's okay. We're here and we're talking elk. So I know, Steve, you were in Alberta last year. Was it last fall trying for elk, or was that your muley trip, or was that elk last year? Or?
No, that was my muley whitetail combo trip. It was the year before. It was elk, about 8 days on a horseback back up in Fernie.
Right. That's right. Over in BC. That's right.
Yep.
And everything you thought it would be, or?
Well, I broke my hip about 4 months before that. So me and Percocets on the back of a big mule for 8 days. You know, it was a real good come down after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of the best offices I've ever had. And my son went with me too, and he was climbing up rock walls, going over top of partial glaciers, chasing down a bull that was just eluding him for 100 some odd yards away.
Yeah.
So it was fun. And bears going by, and mountain goats and sheep, all the normal stuff.
Yeah. Everything that Alberta has to offer in Western Canada.
Yeah.
Travis, you're back with us.
Yeah. Can you hear me there?
I can hear you pretty loud and clear. Is it echoey on your end?
Not like it was, just a little static, just once in a while.
Okay. And you don't have Carrie there to help you with the technology tonight.
Yeah, she's at her golf startup meeting.
It's funny. We did practice this a couple nights ago. We went through it, made sure everything worked. Everything was good. And it's funny. I've been posting those videos of the live TV fails all week to promo this episode and seminar, and I knew something would go wrong, but that's what makes it fun. Steve and Daryl are helping me kill the time and talk about elk, so yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Hi, Steve. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, Travis.
Hello.
So you Travis, while you were getting connected there, you missed this epic introduction that I had, and I talked about your elk calling championships and building the reeds and a trusted voice and everything. So when you rewatch this, and I'll have to do a little bit of video editing to get it all nice and smooth, but you'll hear your introduction and how I introduced you. But I don't think you're a stranger to many. I don't think so. I mean, it seems like we've known each other for years. So
yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Well, you did all that. I can just go to bed now.
No, we're glad you're here. We're glad things are working. If it does get echoey again or anything, just let me know, and then we can log out, log in, and keep things rolling. So for anyone just joining us now that's getting on, and even in the chat, we're a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think we're ironing them out, and we're gonna be ready to go here right away. So good, we're settled. Everyone's got a drink. Everyone's got questions. Feel free. You got questions? Well, and that's what I think is going to be so great about this episode, right? And it's when I go back into what I call my elk education and what I get from so many people. I mean, I've known you for years and years and years, and you've shared stuff with me. I've researched stuff online, and you never quit learning. So kind of what I'm hoping for tonight too is for people to join in and provide their experiences and what has worked for them, right? I know you can go by the textbook and say, this is what's supposed to work. And if you do this, you're going to get a 6x6 come in at 20 yards and you'll shoot them broadside. But that's not how it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try this one light. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. And while we're doing that, if everyone has a chance to see in the chat, would really love to know where everyone's tuning in from tonight. I know most of my following and viewership is kind of in the Edmonton and the Alberta area, but would really love to know where everyone's tuning in from. Throw that in the chat, and welcome aboard. Daryl, Steve, I'm going to kick you off screen just for a couple seconds here and make sure everything's going good. And away we go. So, Saskatoon. Leslie's from Saskatoon. Awesome. From Saskatchewan. So I guess, Travis, getting into it, you're kind of in the middle of a hectic season, right? You're in maybe the tail end of the show season is what we call it, or?
Yeah. Basically, I got Prince George left. That's May 20th weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, then my scouting season really starts. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's something that we're gonna get into a little bit here.
Yeah.
What I always get from the shows, it's funny. I go there, I look at product, but I find it such a great networking event where you get to talk to people that a lot of times in this day and age, what we're dealing with is a digital world, and you talk to people online, and you're able to meet face to face. So tell us kind of about those experiences and what that means to you.
Yeah, basically, it's funny. When I first started, the first show I ever did was actually Edmonton. I started building the calls, and then right away went to Edmonton with like a pocket full of elk calls, Yeah. And I had a really weird outlook back then. I was like, of course you're new to the whole game, and you're thinking, oh, nobody's gonna buy these things, and you're kind of scared going to your first show. And man, by Saturday afternoon, I was sold out, and I was standing at my booth going, uh-oh, what do I do now? I got to get through all Saturday and all Sunday. Yeah. So it was just a lot of talking and just meeting people and, trying to tell them about product that I didn't have other than like an elk call in my hand.
Yeah. And how long ago was it? Like, when did you start making your own? What year was that?
So I started building my own just for me and a couple buddies in 2012. And then 2013 is when we actually went to Edmonton there.
Oh, okay.
And kind of been going since then, just no stopping.
So, $1 million question. What made you want to build your own? Like, there was a lot of different calls out there. I know when I walked through Cabela's or anywhere else, you got the Primos and everything. Were they not good enough, or did you want something better? Or
honestly, they weren't good enough. At that time, I was going into the Canadian elk calling championships when they had that around, and that was like a sister company to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, but it was like the Canadian version, basically. Right. And so what I was finding, without mentioning any names, I was going into the calling, the prelims, I guess you could call it. Well, going into that, I was having to buy like 10 of the same reeds to get one that would actually do what I wanted it to do on stage.
Right.
And I just thought, like that, what's going on here? Like, this is crap, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, I had a liquid graphics company called Rip It and Dip It. And I was in my shop and I had an elk reed in my hand. And I thought, well, what makes this thing? Like, what's it all about, right? So I literally tore this thing all apart, realized it was like latex, piece of aluminum, and what I thought was duct tape at the time. So I tore that sucker apart and thought, oh, okay, well, I'm sure I can make something like this. So you're familiar with Grand Prairie, so I went down to Lee Sheet Metal.
Yeah,
and I took
LSM.
I took that bent up frame that I tore all apart, and I said, what's the chance you guys could stamp or cut something out like this? And he said, yeah, give me a few minutes, I'll see what I can do. So buddy ran into the back and took my old elk call with him, and he come back with a couple frames that I thought, I can make this work. So
he did it that quick, like kind of on the spot type thing.
I was literally at Lee Sheet Metals for 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
So they were kind of crude designs, no doubt about that, but
sure.
Good enough for me to take back to my shop and play with. So long story short, I got back to the shop, and because I was painting and dipping liquid graphics, I had all kinds of latex gloves kicking around. So I cut a big chunk of latex out of the one latex glove that you literally slap on your hand. And I bent that into the frame and pinched it with vice grips, of all things. I didn't even know what I was doing, and pinched her all together with vice grips. And then I cut a big long piece strip of duct tape, and I laid the elk call down on it, the frame on it, folded it over, and had wrinkles all over it, and took the old tape from the call that I had tore apart, and I laid it on top, and I just kind of traced the elk call shape, basically.
Yeah.
And cut it out with my scissors and threw it in my mouth, and lo and behold, holy crap, it actually worked.
It made a sound.
Actually, I'm looking on my wall here. Carrie Ann taped it to the side of my wall. Give me a second, I'll grab it.
The original prototype. But oh wow, that's crazy where innovation and designs can come from, and where they start and what they progress to. So that's awesome.
Sorry, I had to rip it off my I have a cabinet that Carrie Ann stuck it to, so you're gonna see part of the cabinet.
Oh, oh wow, just like regular silver duct tape and
silver duct tape and a blue latex glove.
Wow, and that's what started it all.
This is Wapiti River Outdoors right there.
And as funny as it is, it looks very similar to everything that you can buy in the stores today. So
exactly. Here's what I make today.
Yeah. A cleaned up version, but yeah.
Little cleaned up. Yeah, exactly. So so that call was made back in 2012, basically.
Yeah.
And then from there, it took me a long time. I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to search out latex, search out for who I could get to make frames, all that stuff. It took probably 6 months, honestly. It was a lot of phoning people. Of course, you call any of the game call companies, and they're all like, wish I could help you, but I can't. It's kind of that deal. It's like anything. It's zippered lips, and nobody wants to talk about. Don't talk about Fight Club, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then from there, it just kind of you started making them for yourself to use for hunting, or when did it kind of turn into hey, I got something good and people want to use it?
Yeah. Basically, it just started with that. The first season was me and a couple buddies only that had my out calls.
Yeah.
And then it was that next year where I actually had my own cutter made that cuts this proper shape with everybody thinks it's fangs, but it's actually the W cut for Wapiti.
There you go.
So I've never actually really explained that. And the reason I came up with that is because my dad actually used elk reeds a little bit at the start, and he was always gagging and choking on them like every newbie does, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, how can I get this to stop? Like, there's got to be a reason it's doing it. So I literally just took an elk reed and I cut a little V in it just for a couple of relief cuts.
Yeah.
And my dad threw it in, and it wasn't nearly as bad. So I'm like, okay, I think we're actually on to something like this, right? Because all the other calls, you put them in your mouth, and they fold up. Like there's no way around it because our mouth is rounded, so that material has to literally go somewhere. So, and then after I knew these relief cuts actually worked, then I talked to the guy that I found that could make me a cutter to cut the actual, the shape. And I said, what's the chance you could, and I sent him a reed that had just a V in it. And I said, what's the chance you can build something like this with these cuts? He says, man, I can make anything you want. You draw what you want on picture and I'll make it exactly how you want it. So I got to thinking that night, I'm like, well, the V is kind of ugly and generic, and I cut it out with scissors. And I'm like, that's not really what I want for something professional looking, right? So I made a couple elk reeds and did some drawings on some paper, and I sent him a drawing, and he's like, Trav, I can make that, no problem. So within a couple days, he sent me a prototype of the exact cutout, like exactly like that. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now we're on to something, right? So
as they say,
that's how that all
got real.
Yeah, exactly. I said, I guess we're in it. Now we're doing it. That was the start of spending money that hasn't stopped.
Yeah, for sure. And then the rest of it, I mean, it writes itself, and now your product is in different stores across the country and whatnot. And
it's awesome. Like we're in stores all the way BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Texas, New York, even.
Okay. There's elk in Colorado. New York. I would have never guessed.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have thought either. Yeah. And actually, I have a lot of elk reeds in Australia and New Zealand, believe it or not, for the guides that hunt stag.
Yeah.
So
they use those for some lures. Yeah. So I guess for everybody that doesn't know, you are, although you've had some technology to help make it, these are handmade by you, like out of your house, right? Like you do this by hand.
Yep. I'm in my basement right now, which is the dungeon, Carrie Ann calls it. Yeah. She gives me half a piece of bread and a half a glass of water a day, and I'm stuck down here for 8 hours.
And literally. I guess how is so
I actually made this one right before we came on air. This is a fresh one of my brand new reeds called 6.
Nice.
So this we can do as a giveaway.
Cool.
So actually I have if you want, I'm just throwing this at you. We can do the Vixen, the 6, and the Shiver Me Timber as some giveaways. One person gets one reed or something, and then I'll throw in the thermals or something.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my 3 new calls for this year. So
perfect. No, we can do a giveaway in the chat here or whatever. We can do something and do that to pick. So I guess is there a plan to go bigger, do mass produce of these, or is still the plan just to put that quality that goes into it? And like you talked about, you said you were getting inconsistent quality with the different reeds you were purchasing before. And I know how much the user appreciates that. So I'm assuming the plan isn't to mass produce and go big, but let us know.
I won't lie, at the very start, that was the plan. Get into all the Cabela's and all the wholesale sports and Sportsman Warehouse and you name it, go big or go home. And then I had some meetings with some of the bigger companies, and I was like, a lot of them have what's called like a buyback system. So you sell at your wholesale price to them, and whatever they don't sell at the end of the season, you have to buy back at their price. So in the end, you really weren't gonna get anything. You're not gonna get ahead, right? So
like they'd have
unless
to sell
they
every time in order for you to be profitable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then on that other side, I was like, how in the heck am I going to build for all the Cabela's, all the Sportsman Warehouse, it's just me doing it, and Carrie Ann helps package some stuff.
Right.
Had a couple buddies helping build along the ways. Just things happen.
Yep.
People go their own way, their own direction, and now you're building again by yourself. And
For sure.
now I actually have a couple other guys actually helping me right now build.
Nice.
When I'm really, really busy.
Yeah.
I'll still do all the latex stretching, but the doming, the taping, the packaging, that's all, anybody can do that kind of part. So
for sure. So I know I've asked this question before, but do reeds go bad? I got like in my totes behind me here, I got some that I don't use and they're there and I've never used them. They've never been in my mouth. They've never been wet. Does it go bad or no?
Honestly, they do go bad if you leave them in your truck in the heat and stuff like that. But like this reed here in my call pouch, this reed right here in the very bottom. So this was the original 6. So this I built back at the start of last hunting season.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the original 6. So this went all August, September, and all of October. And that's how it kind of finished up its life. Still in my pack. And believe it or not, I've been using this same reed throughout all the trade shows, Edmonton, Red Deer, everywhere I've been, and it's still amazing. Still hits a high note. It does everything you want an elk reed to do. So this one actually blew me away. I'm not gonna lie. Like going into it, we're gonna get more into this talking about the elk reeds down the road, but
for sure,
this one here, out of pretty much all the elk reeds I've ever built, besides the Reaper, this one here is a standout for me.
Okay.
So,
and I think everyone has like their favorites, right? Like I know I've been using your products. Oh man. And I think it rewinds. The first time I ever met you was at a horn scoring event for SCI in Edmonton. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a guy there that builds reeds and he sells reeds and he's going to do a seminar and tell me how to call them. I was just like, wow, this guy's awesome. He's sharing information. And it's funny. So I've been using a bunch of different ones. And obviously I promote the brand every chance I can. Title sponsor of our social. Thank you so much, Travis, for that as well.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, what's a good reed to start with? And I'm just like, it's always such a hard question because I'm like, so many of them, they do all the same, but they're all different. And it's what you like. There's a double latex, there's single. And it's just, I'm like, there's not a bad one in the bunch, but even myself in my pack that I have where it's like a whole bunch of different ones. I mean, I got the Clutch and I got the Huntress, and those are the two that I spend my whole season calling with. And it's just, I don't know. That's what works for me.
I know. And everybody's got such a different mouth. So I'll tell you what I do when I go do seminars. Of course, all the seminars, you can have 40 people, you can have 60 people, 80 people, whatever. I'll literally take a bag of reeds with me and I'll hand out these bags of reeds, and it's all basically the morning sunrise. It's a middle of the road 04 latex reed. I call that my seminar reed. So what I do is I hand one of those out to everybody. The bags go through the crowd. And at the end, when I know everybody's got a reed, I'll say, oh, hey, is there any more of those reeds left? And they'll be like, yeah, the bag's right here. I'll say, just pull one of those reeds out and pass it up to the front for me. They'll be like, okay, here's a reed. Yeah. So I'll get that in my hand and I'll say, okay, I'm going to do the whole seminar with this reed. And everybody's like, well, yeah, you're going to cow call, right? And then I'll let out a lip ball, rip, and bugle. They're like, with this reed? Like, holy crap, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, once people learn the basics with that reed, you can go down to any avenue with an out call.
Yeah, for sure. I guess for everybody that's listening and live with us right now, throw it in the chat. If you're using a Wapiti River reed right now, what's your favorite one, or what's your favorite too? Would love to hear what other people are using. And while people are throwing that in the chat, I always like to dig in to the stories, right, Travis? So I'm going to ask the question of, like, during your elk reed building and stuff, was there Was there a hard lesson that you learned the 1 year or one time where you're like, oh man, this a really maybe a shitty situation or something? Or what's been your hardest lesson in the whole elk reed build process?
The hardest lesson is learning the stretches to where there's a certain point where you have to stretch it so much that if it sits for like, say, 2-month stretch or something, the reeds will kind of relax a little bit on you. So there's a certain amount of stretch you have to put in it to get to that point.
When you say they relax, they end up getting looser. They don't be as tight.
Yes, exactly. They loosen off, and then you really struggle to hit like the high note.
Right.
Calf sounds, that's all still easy. But it's all about the high note when you're bugling. You're trying to do a location bugle, and you're trying to hit that high note and just ring it out there. Once you get a floppy loose reed, it's really tough to do that, and it doesn't matter your skill level. You give it to any of the pros, and they would struggle with it too, right? So, and then the other thing was tape. All the tape is not created equal, so all the different manufacturers I was getting tape from, our climate's a little bit different up here in Canada. We're a lot colder usually on the most part. So when I was having to train everybody, a lot of times the tape will loosen off in this area here, and it's partially because of my dome. I have a little, it's hard to show you, but there's a little step right here where my dome comes down and comes onto the frame.
Right.
What I always teach everybody is roll your fingers over the edge and then press it all the way back, and do that on both sides and press it so that tape's nice and tight, and then it'll look nice and tight like that. You can actually see the step down.
Yep.
That's how it should be before you put it in your mouth, because what's going to happen if you throw that in your mouth and you literally get moisture in here where the dome is and the tape is, you're going to literally get moisture in there, and automatically you mix moisture and tape. That's gonna the tape's gonna want to pull right off, right? So that was kind of one of the hard things for me to learn, was teaching people about reeds, because first thing you do is you grab a reed that's in the package, you open it up, and you're like, okay, throw that in your mouth and let's go. But there's a couple steps you need to do before. So
I find, I mean, with me, like you say, you can take any one of your reeds, you can take it out of the package, put it in your mouth, and they're good. For myself, I always like kind of breaking them in a bit. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but I'll go through it. And even on like on the Huntress, I'll go through and I'll start hammering on it, and I'll do different things on it that I'm probably don't normally do, just to kind of stretch it out, get it really worked in. And then I'm like, okay, it's good. So it's funny, as I get closer to elk hunting season, they're in my truck. As when bear hunting starts, like the Saturday, hopefully I'm getting out, the reeds are going in, and as I'm driving out, I'm practicing, right? But then I get some that are really, I say, more worn out, and those ones I find I use for those just soft touches where you're within 10 yards of something and you can't make a you need to make a like, and it's just so I mean, I have different ones on different sides of my pouches where I'm like, okay, these ones are crisp and chirpy, these ones are softer, I've broken them in, and it's kind of my little inventory that I use.
Exactly. And that was actually funny you mentioned. It's really funny you mentioned that, actually, because as you know, I make a lot of cow-calf reeds, and then I make a lot of bugling reeds. And of course, there's stuff in between that's for everything: cow-calf, bugling, chuckling, whatever. But at the very start, and this is something I really struggle with to this day, it's trying to teach people to use a cow-calf reed that's really light latex, like say my Frolicker or the Sassy. It's a 0.0025 latex thickness, very thin, like very thin. Then you take my Reaper, it's a 0.005, so double the thickness for the Reaper, which is a bugling reed. And then the Frolicker is the cow-calf reed. So you got two ends of the spectrum. Well, in my head, and still to this day, I'm like, you have to use a cow-calf reed to do cow-calf sounds. And they will take a little bit of bugling, obviously. You can bugle on them lightly, gently, if, you can make them last if you just go really easy on them. But they're not really meant for that. So a cow-calf reed's meant for cow-calf sounds. The bugling reed's meant for bugling. And I will say, like the Reaper, it's a terrible cow-calf reed. Like it sucks. But it really starts once you wear in a Reaper really well, then after it's worn out, like you say, and it starts getting a little bit loose, then it starts becoming a really good cow-calf reed. So it's weird. It's almost like the more you use the latex, the thinner it gets, the thinner it gets, the thinner it gets, because you're wearing it out.
Right.
So eventually it'll be pretty good. But and still to this day, I try to teach everybody, buy a cow-calf reed, buy a bugling reed. And even to me, that's what I have in my pouch. I have a sassy right here. So, and then right below it, or sorry, right above it is usually my Reaper, or this year it was the 6 that would be in there. So those are the 2 reeds that I'm actually hunting with at that time.
Yeah. And shameless plug, but man, this reed case, this reed wallet that you designed and built, game changer for me out in the field. To have something that holds your wind checker, the 2 that I use, something different. The magnet, it's close, it's here, whether you're putting it on your backpack or around your neck or in your bino harness. Like I used to have a Ziploc bag, and then I went to your little orange pouch, and I'm like scrambling through, and this is like quick, easy, it's in and out. Just a game changer. So if you don't have one yet, get yourself one. It's going to make life easy for you out in the bush. So
you're absolutely right. And it's, I literally put my elk calls in there. I put my thermals in there. My elk tags go in there. Because let's face it, we all wear bino harnesses and backpacks and stuff like that. But you have to have this stuff readily accessible. You know what I mean? Especially wind checker. That's very important. You got to have that like ready to go at all times. So that's why I kind of built this. Believe it or not, there's a story behind that as well.
What is it?
I'll quickly tell you. I don't want to take up too much time on this, but I was in Carrie Ann's computer room upstairs, and there's this old ladies' money wallet sitting on the desk. And I'm like, oh, it's a black leather wallet. I thought nothing of it. I'm playing with it, and you know where all the credit cards go and all that stuff. I'm like, dang, that would be a great thing for like elk calls. So I took it down to the dungeon, and I started cutting it all up, hacking it all up.
Did you ask her first or no?
No, I didn't ask her. I cut it all up and made it fit elk reeds, and I sewed in some pouches on the very front to how I wanted it, and I was getting it ready to send to my manufacturer to let's build this sucker. I've been talking about it for 3 years. Well, Carrie Ann comes home from work, and I'm all excited about this. Babe, I'm making this happen. We're finally going to make an elk call pouch. And her eyes go big. And I'm like, oh, you like it? You think it's going to? That's my brand new wallet, she said. I just got that. I'm like, no, you're kidding, right? I'm like, uh-oh. So Carrie Ann was not too happy about that. But so that's how
Did you buy her a new one at least?
No, she could buy her own wallet. I would. If I bought one, I'd buy the wrong thing anyway. So that's something you just pick out yourself.
I hear you. And then looking at the chat here, Travis is like the Reaper, and then Leslie bought 7 Wapiti River reeds, and then she found the one that was the Heart, which seemed to be the one that worked best for her. So a couple great reads there as well. And I think the Heart one goes back to when you did for the breast cancer one. The proceeds for that went to that, and
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's and I still make that one to this day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wanted to do it. This one seemed weird for me when you and I started talking about this. Oh, maybe even at the Red Deer show that I joined you at. We're like, let's do one on elk. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, we got so much time. Like, it's not till September. And then as things went through, and I'm like, I think it's important that we do this one sooner than later, because doing it now for everyone that's going to be watching, whether you're watching live or watching the replay of this, it gives people so much information and educate themselves that they can now go put what they're learning to use out there. So I kind of want to go through a little bit. If we start with the scouting for elk, how do you know if elk are in an area? Like, what do you do? Are you looking at maps, or are you looking for certain terrain? Or if you're talking to people that are brand new without giving them GPS coordinates, how do you get on elk if you're brand new?
So for me, a lot of it is we're out there every day with our trucks, and we're driving, different country roads and different oil lease roads and stuff like that. I'm a hound for looking for tracks. Number one, you find tracks, moose tracks, deer tracks, bear tracks, any of those. What I try to key in on is literally moose and whitetail deer. If you see deer tracks, you're going to find elk, especially in Alberta. So I key in on that. Yeah, there you go. Some fresh tracks there. And the thing is, what most people don't realize what I'm doing, I'll stop my truck and I'll literally hop out of my truck, and I'm looking at these elk tracks, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, they're elk tracks. Big deal. Like, who cares, right? But you see those elk tracks on the screen, they're going a certain direction. Now, in my mind, I'm like a Sherlock Holmes. I'm like, okay, they're going this direction. Why are they going that direction? What's over there? Where did they come from? And where are they going to? So now I'm getting on my Google Earth right there on the map, or I bring up my iHunter, Onyx, whatever I'm using at the time. It has to be something where you can, you're seeing natural bush, like that view.
Right.
Now I'm looking at to see where the tracks are heading. Like, is there a meadow over there, or is there a river or a draw, and then back it up. Why are they coming from there? What did they come from? Did they come from a feeding source, or did they come from a bedding area and now they're going somewhere feeding? And this is really great to do after it rains. Well, if you get rain. Like last year we didn't get any rain, so it was really tough to find fresh tracks. But right after a rain, like a day, 2 days after a rain, get out there and drive some of those roads and look for tracks. And then from there, jump on Google Earth and really start looking at the terrain and seeing where it goes, and bring it up so you have contour lines as well, because contour lines tell you everything. Elk like to travel the path of least resistance, and we know they're 4-wheel drive, but still they follow those contour lines. And basically, once you get out of your truck, and if you're in Crownland or whatever, just get on those game trails, because that track that crossed the road is going to go right into a game trail. So you can literally park in an approach or wherever you can park, walk back to those tracks, and then go in on that game trail and just literally start following it. And you're going to run into water, a wallow, you're going to hit a lick, you're going to hit a feeding area, a draw, a little creek coming down. You're going to hit something. And just start marking those spots. If you have a GPS, or we all have phones, just start marking waypoints and naming them. And that's kind of one of the things I really like on your different apps. You can actually take a picture and put it right with that waypoint. So now when you get back home, let's say it's a week later and you kind of forgot, you're like, oh, and then you're looking through your spots, you're like, well, I did walk in there and I scouted that area. Maybe a month from now, what did it look like? And if you have a picture, now you can go, oh, okay, that's right now, right? Because
right,
it does good if you have 20 or 30 different spots, but you can't remember where they are and what they look like. So
yeah, for sure. So with elk being herd animals, do they stick in that same spot all the time? Like, are you using the same travel paths to get from bedding to feed and water and whatnot? Or do they cover a lot of ground and they're not back for a couple of days? Or do they have
Yeah, most elk have like a 7-day circle. If they're not staying right in this area for 2 or 3 days, which they normally do, they'll stay for a while till they get sick of that food source. And the thing is, it's just like me and you eating Lucky Charms every morning for a week straight. Well, pretty soon you're going to go away from that Lucky Charms. You're going to want bacon and eggs or pancakes or whatever you like, right? You're going to get sick of that food source, and it's the same for the elk. Now, they also have predators and hunters chasing them. Not so much through the summer for us, but the predators are always there, no matter what. So they only want to stick around to those certain areas for a couple of days. So
yeah,
that's why you'll see they actually move quite a bit. And I actually have a friend. He was with Fish and Wildlife, and he was telling me about some of the studies they do, and like some of the elk are collared and they track them. And
right.
believe it or not, some of our elk from the Peace River area, believe it or not, go all the way down into the States, into Washington, and come across over into Oregon, Montana, and then they come right back up. And it was a huge loop that he showed me. And I was like, holy cow, like there's no way that our this was on a cow. And he said the bulls do it as well. I was blown away. I was like, okay, so this elk that you shot, that bull that you guys shot was it last year you shot with your buddy?
Yep.
That elk, he could have came from Colorado or Montana. Like we don't know where he came from.
I would have never guessed they would travel that. I wouldn't think they would need to, but
I know. Yeah, I was honestly blown away, Jeff, when I saw that. I was like, holy cow. Like I thought the Saddle Hills elk would stay in the Saddle Hills. The south of Grand Prairie elk would stay south of Grand Prairie. Peace River, BC, all those elk, I thought they have their little, and I kind of thought, well, maybe a 10 or 15 kilometer radius or, something like that. But no, sir, it's, heck, you could be shooting a bull from Jasper, the next bull you see. Like,
well, it was funny because I was going to say, I think maybe the only ones that don't travel are the ones that reside and stay right in Jasper, but who knows?
And I think you're right. They have the safety and they know they're safe there and they got the girls there. Why leave it?
Why leave? Yeah.
So,
okay. Wow. Cool. Anything else to look for when you're scouting? And I know for me, when I get to an area, the slow times at work, I'm pulling up Google Earth and I'm looking at different places and different elevations. I'm like, oh, where's that?
Yeah.
And I find the most information I always get is walk the trails. And I even find that even when we're hunting, right? You're like, oh, I haven't been down there. Well, let's see where it leads. And then you will walk around and you will get to things where you're like, holy crap, I never knew this existed. You don't see that on a map. I didn't know there was a mineral lick here or a spring or something like that. And I think my biggest advice would be get out, put boots on the ground, spend the time. But what's your biggest tip?
Yeah, literally one of the biggest things I'm looking for is elk poop on the ground. And it doesn't matter to me if it's old or if it's green or if it's, like that there, that's really fresh. Like that's fresh. This morning, those elk are going to be a couple 100 yards in front of you. Yeah. So you see that and it's opening morning or a week into hunting season, you really need to slow down and just start hunting the terrain, because those elk are right there. But even if it's really old stuff, it's telling you the elk were there at one time. So what I like to do, and I know you like to run cameras and stuff as well. So most of my cameras are honestly, if you mentioned it, you walk across through the trails, you find a lick, you find a water source, something like that. 2 or 3 or 4 trails that are converging in one spot. Absolutely, really super great spot to put a camera,
and I have some that I'm playing admin doing videos and stuff because I knew we'd get into some of this stuff. So as you're talking about it, I'm gonna show this one here. So this is one of your videos, obviously, Travis. And I know we're talking about like even this one here. You'll see that this bull's checking out the cow, and it's August 19th, right? So See, and look at he's hard-horned already. So that
that's one thing that amazes me. Running these cameras, we're always guessing when are the elk shedding their velvet, right? I've always wondered that my whole life. Is it August 20th? Are they ready to breed right away? Or
Yeah.
So what I've been seeing the last 2 years in a row, and I'm sure you've seen it as well on yours, August 10th, August 9th, they'll be velvet. August 10th, I find 10th, 11th, they're hard-horned already. And once they go hard-horned, you give them a day or two to harden up solidly, those bulls are ready to breed. And like you see on that video, that guy's already sniffing her. And what people don't realize, some of those cows that he's sniffing, they're ready to breed right then. So,
yeah. And obviously the video that we're here is something you walked up on, and nice bonus prize of some gigantic moose sheds. But is this what we're looking at? Is this like a wallow? Is this a lick, or what did you find?
So right where I had just panned to the left, there was there's actually a water seep coming out of the ground. Okay. And it literally goes down this whole grassy meadowy area. Yeah, right up here, right up in there. You see that nook?
Yeah.
There's actually water coming out of there. And so there's got to be water, and there's minerals in there. And they're literally just licking the water, and they're licking the dirt. And yeah, some of the moose and the elk, they jump right into that mud, and they're just filthy covered.
Yeah, and I'm going to share another one here, and this is good. So I guess if you're listening to the recorded version of this and you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or something, come back and check the video on the YouTube. I'm going to give myself a shameless plug here, because we're showing videos and different things of what we're talking about. And this one here is, I think this bull has just come from his little wallow behind him there. You can see he's got mud on his face, on his back, on his antlers and whatnot. So
yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier, and I didn't know this. When a bull is ready to breed, the velvet's gone. Like, is that a good telltale of that's the first rut cycle coming in?
Yeah, basically, I imagine it's just like you and I. We can breed any time of the year, and I imagine a bull's the same.
It's when she's ready. That's the important thing.
Yeah, it's just a matter of if she's ready, The bulls, all they need their antlers for is displaying and showing who's awesome and who's not. And look at me, and I'm awesome, right? I'm a big 6x6, and you girls should pick me, right? That's what the antlers are for. And then obviously, if they get in a battle, they're going to need those and some protection. But the cows, honestly, like you talk to any of the elk ranchers that have elk farms, some of those cows can come in on the 10th, 12th of August. It's game on. Like soon as mid-August comes in, some of those cows are dripping already, and they're ready to breed.
Yeah. Sorry, I have windows open, and I'm trying to look at the chat too. Sorry, lost my train of thought. It's back. Yeah. When we're scouting, so here's always a problem that I find. I'm going scouting and I'm going for a walk, and I will go hit there. Like, I'm going to go in May and I'm going to throw up a couple cameras just to see what the elk are doing, see what's growing, see what's moving in the area. I'm probably going to go back and check it one more time before that September 1st time. But is there, how do you scout? Because their behavior is going to be different now. And when it's plus 30 in July, than it is when August 25th or September 1st or September 17th, whenever your hunting season starts. How do you know, I guess, when you're scouting now, is it the same as what it's going to be later, or is it different? Or what's your advice on that? How do you make my head slow down and not overthink things?
Yeah. So automatically, the number one thing I look for, and hands down, it never fails, the elk come back there every single year, no matter what, elk rubs on trees. No matter what, you can't hide those. Let's face it, elk can pee and they can crap all over the place, and they walk through it and it gets scattered, and there's no elk crap here. Like I can't see nothing. You'll see tracks, you'll see old stuff, but rubs, if you find rubs, and I do this right through my hunting season, literally the minute I start walking a game trail, I'm looking for elk rubs. And if I find elk rubs, I'm looking at them saying, like that little stuff there, right there, you know, that's a bull getting probably his velvet off, probably fairly early. And so that tells you right there, those elk are there at the end of August or middle of August in that area somewhere. And then you see the nice big golden rubs, like something like that. That's an elk's bedroom. And that bull literally stayed there for a week all by himself. He rubbed his antlers clean, he hardened them up, and then he's on the prowl looking for cows. So
yeah, I'm going to throw a video up here.
Okay.
Sorry, too many buttons to pick from all. This is why I need a moderator. You know, you made it when you need a moderator running your stuff, right? This is a bull's bedroom that the first time that we came across it, we didn't know it was there. We were following game trails, we were bugling, we were locating, we were trying to find stuff, and we got a response and we got really close. And once the bull busted us and he screwed off, we're like, well, let's go see at least where he was. And we were 20 yards away from his bedroom, and it was weird because you get in there and once the video is up here right now, and I will pause this so you don't hear me talking. This is from one of the hunts that I have on my YouTube channel. But you go in there and it's just every tree was rubbed and the ground was beat up. Like it wasn't peat moss, but the dirt was so trampled that there was like it stunk like a barn. Like it was everything. So you can see as we're walking through here, and probably not a great idea to walk and explore his bedroom when we're trying to hunt, but I found it so fascinating. Like there was the one big rub, and then you'll see another little beds around it leading to it. And I think it still continues on where you'll see a little bit more of the rubs, but this was all within like 20, maybe a 20 by 20 yard radius. It wasn't big, but this is kind of where he called home. And it's funny, as we walked a little bit further from there, it was a big meadow, tall grass, and there had to be 100 beds near there. I was like, oh my God, this is like perfect. And we've gone back to that spot year after year, and there's new rubs and there's new like wallows and there's like just different things there. So they come back and they keep using it for sure. And it's once you find one, it's I was amazed. I was like, holy shit, look at this. So.
Yeah. And you're right. They do use it year after year. And if that bull doesn't get shot, say you guys didn't shoot that bull, he'll be in that bedroom next year. So
they reuse them.
Absolutely. And don't worry about walking through it. The bull's gone already anyways. So go in there, check it all out, but keep that in your memory bank for this season. Now coming up, August 25th, first thing in the morning, get within 150 yards of that spot, downwind, keep the wind in your favor 100%. Do a really quiet little breeding sequence. Like literally go in, grab a stick, do some raking, and then just literally just do. About that quiet. Rake the tree a little bit more.
Yeah.
And grab your bow and just sit there quietly.
Yeah. I know we practiced that the other night, Travis, and I'm not sure if anyone else can hear it, but I don't hear it. I just hear the voice in that right now, which sucks, but
okay. Yeah. Basically all I'm doing I'm just doing like with the reed, really quiet, really like I'm only reaching out like 50 to 75 yards. That's what I'm trying to picture when I'm doing those sounds.
Right.
And it's just raking the tree, just it's called like a breeding. And give that 15, 20 minutes, just do the calling for about a minute and then just shut right up. Grab your bow and just be ready. Give it 15, 20 minutes. And if you don't see nothing, do it again. But don't raise the volume. Just keep the volume exactly the same. Do it again for another minute, maybe, 30 seconds to a minute. Put your bugle tube down, grab your bow, and then be ready. And usually by the second or third time you do that, which you're going to be 20 minutes, half an hour into your situation.
Right.
That bull is going to come from his bedding area, and he's going to walk broadside right past you, because
right.
They literally can zone in on you, as you know, so good.
Yeah. And that's because, I mean, you're not challenging him. And I guess that's part of the communication that we'll talk about a little bit right now. Like, it's one of those things that I remember Daryl talking about, Daryl Hunts West here, who's in the chat with us. He talks about going into a party, and if you're going into the party, and no different than human interaction, right? And if you're like, hey everybody, how's it going, I'm gonna kick your ass, and you're just like, everyone's like, this guy's crazy, let's get out of here, right? Rather than coming in and, hey guys, and kind of, it's, elk are very social, right? So if you're not using the right language, they're gonna go pretty quick. And I think anyone who's hunted elk long enough learned that the hard way their first few years. Mine, it took 9 years before I learned it. But like you say, you do those soft sounds. You're not challenging him yet or anything like that. You're just letting him know you're another elk in the area, and he doesn't want you in his area. That's his bedroom. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of those things. I mean, mark it in your Garmin, mark it on your phone. If you can find like a handful of those areas where that's his bedroom, well, now you got August 25th morning, August 26th morning, 27th, 28th. You've literally got 3 or 4 spots you can hit in the morning, and you have a really good chance of calling one of those in.
Right. I'm kind of bouncing around, and I'm not following my my sequence at all, but that's okay. When you talk about that, and everyone will have a different theory on when the best time and when the best date is to hunt elk. Do they go into like an estrus cycle, and does that happen every 14 days, or what does that look like? And I know, at least from my experience, it's a little bit different everywhere you are. Like, I watch so many elk hunting shows on TV, like the Elk 101 and Elk Bros, and they're in different areas. So I find a lot of that doesn't apply. I'm like, it's a little bit different up here in Alberta. But from your experience in Alberta, does the estrus hit a cycle? Is there a couple of them, or what does that look like?
So my whole thing with elk and calling in general and the estrus stuff, we know all these cows do not come in on August 25th or September 7th. They're all going to come in. Most of them, if you read any of Corey Jacobson stuff, they're always, either side of the fall solstice, 3 or 4 days either side. Usually that coincides around September 20th. So the mass breeding cycle is going to be around the 20th. But honestly, we've shot the last 2 or 3 years, August 25th opening morning, we have an elk down by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Every year, no matter what. And that tells you one thing. Those bulls are ready to breed. And those bulls that we called in have always been with cows. And as you know, our area here, a big herd is 3, 4, 5 cows with a bull.
Yeah.
That's just what we get.
Yeah.
So, but they come in like clockwork. And if you can get in there, do a chuckle, that's what I'm famous for, just going into my area, letting out a chuckle, and then I'm just quiet for 5 minutes straight. And I'm listening. Right. My ears are tuned in. I'm trying to find out, do you hear a cow call? Do you hear a bugle? Anything like that.
Right.
And of course, this goes back to all my scouting. I've scouted the whole summer, but that's what I'm looking for. While I'm scouting, I'm trying to find 2 areas, 3 areas, 4 areas that as I get closer to opening morning, I'm checking these areas like 2 weeks in advance. Wherever there was elk, that's where I'm going back to opening morning, right? Okay. So now you've raised your odds exponentially. You're not just going in blind and, man, I hope there's elk here. Like, I don't know. I haven't been here since last year, but you know what I mean? It's there's a method to my madness, 100%. And that's why guys like coming with me opening morning, the first 3 days of the season, I do not miss no matter what. And if you're the lucky hunter that's coming with me, you're probably the shooter, because I just love calling. and there's a really good chance you're going to shoot an elk that morning, right? So
it's
but that's my
go ahead.
Yep.
Didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yep. But that's my whole season, honestly. I hunt every single day, August 25th till the second week of October. I'm packing my bow, and my strategies don't change no matter what, because I know there's an elk coming into estrus every single day from August 20th till November. Like guys shoot bulls on cows into December, right?
Yeah.
So that's just one of my things. And if you hear a bugle, it's an elk talking back to you, but he's saying, Jeff, dude, I'm over here. Like, yo, dude, I'm over here. Yeah. That's a bull you need to go hunt for sure. Like, and in the elk woods, most guys hang up right there. That's where they stop, and they'll grab their bugle tube and they'll let out a location bugle and rip one at him right now, right?
Yeah.
Worst thing you can do, that bull's already talking to you. Keep in mind, if an elk bugles to you, whether he's answering a cow call, a calf call, a chuckle, you rake the tree and a bull bugled, that bull heard you and he's saying, dude, get over here. That's exactly that. In the elk world, you hear a bugle, he's telling you to come to him no matter what. So
yeah, for sure. If I rewind and I'm going back to like scouting for if you're brand new, you find an area, you've scouted, you got some trail cameras, you see bulls, you see cows, you see calves and whatnot. There's so many different ways to hunt elk. And it's funny, even my own personal experiences. And when I think I got it figured out, and I'm like, I'm going to do this and here's what's going to happen because I've done this 100 times before. And I'm like, that ain't working. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's also like plus 31 in September 14th. And I'm like, this ain't working either. They're not moving. They're not talking until it's dark. How do you get on them? So there's lots of different ways, but I really like your approach. And I've taken that one for what I call my setups and my sequences. But take us through, if you were going out, you've done your homework, you've done the trail camera, you think there's elk in the area, you might know there's elk in the area.
Yeah.
Opening morning, you're going out. What are you doing to call? How are you trying to get them? I guess it's what people would call a cold calling sequence.
Yeah. So what I always go to is straight up. First thing, I walk into my hunting area and I set up my setting calling station is what I call it. And literally I kick all the ground around me down to like fresh dirt. So I literally have that smell coming up. I take my pack off. I'll have my camera on my tripod set up. If you're filming, you don't have to carry a tripod and camera if you don't want to film anything. But no matter what, my pack's off. The ground is kicked up so it's clear, fresh, dirt. The smell of fall is coming in the air and you can smell it and it's just wicked. I'll knock an arrow on my bow and I'll just hang my bow up and it's at the ready all the time. And then you got your bugle tube and your thermals. Everything's kind of set up. I'm literally just setting the stage for an elk to come into my lap. And the thing is, I've scouted these areas, so I know that they're coming around. What I first do, and it's just a habit for me, I'll grab a stick and I'll just rake a tree really lightly. And then the next thing I do right after I'm done raking is I'll do a little chuckle. So it's just grab any reed in your tube and just really quietly, I'm searching that first 100 yards out in front of me. And it's just about quiet like that, nice and easy. And then I'm just sitting there waiting for about 15-20 minutes. And that's my first calling setup. Like, it's nothing really extravagant. It's nothing hard. You could do it with your voice. That's all you have to do, right? And you've raked a tree. Well, raking a tree, most people don't know. People think, oh, he's thrashing the tree. He's beating the crap out of it. He wants to have a fight. So there you can see my setup right there. You can see I've kicked all the ground. It's all kicked down to dirt. The reason I do that is because I want to be able to walk I want to be able to spin around slowly and quietly if I need to in a 360 degree, because you don't really know when you've walked into these areas. You don't know when elk are going to come out. They could come behind you. They could come out in front of you, where you're hoping they come out in front of you because that's where you're calling to, and that's the plan. But as you know, elk don't always follow the plan. So my station is set up in accordance to that. And you can see, the bow's right there, arrows knocked. You'll see my wind checkers right there. You can kind of see the wind checkers pulled out of my slot on my reed pouch. That's so I can literally be grabbing it, checking the wind, putting it in, grabbing it, checking the wind, putting it back. And it's just really quick, little movements. And that's what I'm doing. So that setup will literally all be in that spot for an hour to an hour and a half. And if I don't get a reply, nothing's happened, I will bump ahead. And keep in mind, that's an area I've scouted. There's probably a water source or there's a bedding area that I'm working my way towards. That's my number one thing: water and a bedding area. The closer you can get to those, I'm not worried about a feeding area because they fed all night. That's the area they're leaving. That's not where they're going to first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? So, but water is what I'm really looking for. Wallow, natural spring, anything like that, and a bedding area. So that whole setup is, I'm probably 200 or 300 yards back from one of the areas I want to eventually get to. And I'll do 3 or 4 calling setups and those stations before I actually get to that point. So your whole morning is taken up. So if you're starting out at gray light at 6 in the morning, your first setup's going to take you till 7:30. And I kind of go with my spidey senses. If I sense I don't hear nothing, I don't sense anything, then I'm going to bump ahead another 150, 200 yards, but really slow. I'm on a game trail. I'm walking quietly and I'm just moving slow. And then I'll literally get to the next spot. I'll set up again and I'll start again. Rake a tree, do some chuckling. And on this one, I'll probably do a really gentle, light little location bugle. Just that's it. Like, keep it very simple.
Right. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the years too is elk are noisy in the bush. When you hear elk walking through, I mean, they're not like a whitetail. They can be, but they're not like a whitetail where they're tiptoeing. Like, you hear them kick rocks and scuffle and this and that, and they're chirping and doing so many things all the time. And I think it's although I swear I would never be the guy that gets to the bush, rips a location bugle, hears one, and chases it. That's what I had to do last fall because it was so hot, and just the way it was is that I would normally not make a sound until it's light because they can close that distance quick. And you're like, oh my God, you just try to listen. But what I had to do is rip off a location bugle about an hour before sunrise, before legal light, hear where they would respond, and have to make my way through as quietly as I can to get within that 70 yards to try to get there. And a lot of times that has never worked for me, but that's what I had to rely on last year because the cold calling and even just a slow play sequence, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So lots of different tactics. Yeah.
And that's partially because we had no rain all year. So these elk were in tiny little pockets right by the water, and they were not leaving it. And just like the year before and the year before that was plus 30, like you said. And it's like, it's hot for us being out there. I can imagine having hide and all that hair, and man,
I spent many afternoons last year in my underwear and my Crocs, just like it was not a pretty sight. It was gross.
You're right. A little quick story. In July, I hiked into one of my game cameras that I had over a wallow. And it was a new spot that I hadn't been to before. I literally hiked in there, found an awesome spot, hung a camera, because I always pack a camera with me in my backpack, hung a camera, marked the location, and then 3 months later, because this was in the spring when I hung the camera, 3 months later, I hiked back into there. It was July. It was plus freaking 1 million. It was so hot. I took my dog, and on my trek in, I thought, I'm going to go up on the ridge and kind of circle her in and come down the ridge, and I'll be right there. Well, I bypassed the camera because up on the ridge, there's usually always a game trail. So I thought, I'll follow the game trail till I find the trail that comes down to my camera. Well, there was no trail and no trail and no trail. I kept on going, and I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going to have to bushwhack, right? So I make the decision, okay, I'm going to start bushwhacking. Well, I start circling back around, and I'm like 400 yards way too far. So I'm bushwhacking, coming around, and I'm getting hot. And my dog's like frothing at the mouth. And I'm thinking, I need to stop. I got water in my pack. I'll stop, get some water, and we'll take a break. We'll recoup. You're kind of lost, but you're not lost because you know where you're going. But you need to take a break and recoup and get some water because it was so hot. Looked through my backpack, and I had it in my one pouch. Lost my water bottle. It was gone. I had zero water. Now me and Izzy are going, we're parched. Like we're halfway into this hike, and we still got a long ways to go. So I hashed it out, and we grabbed my pack, and I kept going. And luckily I found a tiny little mossy grass area that just happened to have a little bit of water in it, so Izzy could get a drink. And so I let her lap up some water like crazy, and then I was only about 200 yards from the camera at that point, so I circled back up around. I had actually come around the camera. Now I had to come back north to the camera. I'd actually bypassed right around it. And because you're hot, and when you get hot like that, you're not thinking as straight as you normally should be, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, I can see where the camera is finally over in that area. I could recognize the trees. So I get over there, and Jeff, I'm so parched and I'm so hot. I stripped my pack off. I stripped my shirt off. I was naked, standing in my underwear, like just in the middle of the line going, oh my God, I'm so hot. I should have sent you the picture. You can see from my belly up, I'm just soaking wet, and my hair is soaking wet. And I was so hot. And so
it's a weird time of year, right? It can be hot or it can be cold.
So now I will not go in the bush without a water bladder. I'll tell you that.
Or something in a zipped pocket.
Pocket somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
When we go back to like, I'm trying to take people through a sequence here. When you do the cold calling, now you've got something that's responded, right? Whether it's raking in the trees or you did a little location bugle and something answers back. What's your next move? And of course, there's so many questions, and there's so many different scenarios of, is it a satellite bull? Does he have cows? What's going on? And there's never a right answer for this, but in a situation where you do get a response, you briefly touched on it when you're like, hey, the elk are saying, I'm over here, come get me. Do you call them to you? Do you go after them? What's your next play?
That's a really great question, actually. So my whole thinking is, knowing that the elk is calling me to them, there's two scenarios. When you chuckle at an elk, he's going to do one of two things. He's going to stay right there where he called from, or he's going to start moving towards you. So in those instances, when the elk starts moving towards you, it's probably a satellite bull that's coming towards you. And he's looking for his buddy that chuckled to him, thinking he may have girls. Maybe I can steal one of his girls, right?
Right.
In the other situation, he bugles, but he's staying over there. That's probably a bull that has cows, and he doesn't want to come close to you. So he's going to stay over there. He'll answer, he'll reply. You can bugle at him, you can chuckle at him, you can cow call, whatever you want. He's going to stay back. He's just going to keep bugling at you. So the first scenario, that bull that starts moving, he may not be coming directly to you. He may be kind of circling, following the ridge, or kind of, moving along. Basically, I'll let that bull just kind of search me out. If I hear him coming and he'll bugle again, like 100 yards closer or something like that, or you even hear him walking.
Right.
That's when I literally go totally silent and just let him search me out. The other one,
Yeah, it's a game of patience, right? Because you don't want to
Yes.
act too quick and you don't want to wait too long either, right? And is he closing the gap or is he getting further away? And it's I mean, for someone
Yeah.
like myself that struggles and has hearing problems and doesn't quite hear great, I'm thankful I have partners that can tell me, no, it came from that direction, not over that way, and he's going farther.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it what they do kind of decides your next move.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I kind of throw the ball right into the Elks court at that time. And it's it's a matter of just there's really no right or wrong thing to say. The best thing you can possibly do, and it's anybody can do it, a little kid can do it. You grab a stick and you rake a tree.
Yeah.
Just rake the tree. You don't have to use a reed, you don't have to call, you don't have to do anything. Raking a tree is a bull advertising for cows. Always, no matter what. He's advertising 100% for the ladies. And once people realize that, they think, oh, this bull was raking a tree. Like he was fired up. He was destroying this thing. Yeah, because that bull thought you had cows. And he's ready to steal your cows, right? So the minute you start raking, that bull, he's got really no choice but to come check this out if he wants any girlfriends, right? So that's always a number one thing to do. And believe it or not, I use a lot of raking. You do your whole calling sequence and you got a bull fired up and you've moved in on them and now you're within 100 yards of him, stuff like that. Like you're really close and he's just screaming. A lot of times I won't bugle anymore. I'll just grab a tree and I'll really start raking and just that's when you start ramping it up and start destroying the tree. The more you can destroy the tree, his girls are going to be like, oh, dang, that guy sounds pretty hot. Like, I'm going to go check him out.
Right.
The minute those girls start meandering through the bush, he's going to be totally pissed and he's going to be screaming his head off because now he may be losing his girls to this guy that's destroying this tree. Yeah. And that's his whole thought. He's like, I need to defend my ladies like right now or they're gone.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah. And Corey has a question in the chat here from Beards of Archery. Is there a time just to cow call? And I guess that one is going to depend on, does the bull have cows already? And it's like in those situations, I mean, it's who are you talking to? If the bull has cows, in my experience, you have to challenge and talk to his ladies in order for him to get mad. You're trying to pull him away with another cow call. I haven't had much success with that. He's not going to leave for what he already has, but sometimes I've gotten them away from their cows with just a cow call. So is there a time just to strictly only cow call?
Well, it blows me away personally because I'm a guy that I rarely cow call. I'm in the school of Joel Turner. Other cows hate other cows. Do not cow call if your life depends on it.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, you talk to hunters that shoot gigantic bulls every year, and they'll be like, "Oh, I was walking down the game trail and I just let out a couple cow calls, and he come freaking crazy right to me." What? Are you serious? Like that never happens.
Yeah,
that's like driving your truck down the road. You never see a nice giant 6x6 in the middle of the road.
No,
at least I don't. It doesn't happen for me, but some guys get really lucky. So I either calf call, and I love calf calling. I rarely cow call. I'll cow call to stop a bull after I've shot him, something like that, just to calm him down, or I'll bugle. That's one time I use a cow call. Maybe August 25th morning instead of raking a tree.
Right.
If I know there's elk kind of in this area, I may let out one single cow call, and then I'll wait that 5 minutes, and then I'll let out another cow call. But it's risky because, like you say, like other cows don't like other cows. It's known fact. But you just never know. You might get that one little. If you're hunting a meat bull, a 3-point or a 4-point. He's really good in the freezer, and you let out a cow call, and if he's with another 2 or 3 spikers or 2 points, those things just come galloping in. Like you can hear their back legs like coming over top, right? Mud's flying and they're just running beeline for you through the bush. That's a good time for, if you're hunting little spiker bulls and our 3 points in our area. But other than that, it's I rarely use a cow call. It's just so risky. You cow call, and the next thing you're going to hear is those cows are rounding up, and they're leaving because they don't want to have nothing to do with that other girl. They're getting out of there. And unfortunately, the bull's like a little puppy dog in heat and wagging his tail, and he's like, "Oh, the girls are leaving, and he's following right after. And now you're going, "Oh crap!" And he's still screaming bugles at you, but 200 yards, 300 yards, 400 yards, you're like, "Oh." You can't keep up with them. They're gone.
A lot, like we talked about, so many different situations. If a bull does this, what do you do? I find one thing that worked for me early on. If I didn't know what to do, I would just mimic what that bull is doing. If it's really loud and abrupt, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it right back to you. Right. And just kind of, when I was out of options and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what he wants. I'm just copying what he does to see if he's coming closer, get away, keep him in the area until I can hear another cow or see something. And that's one of the things that when I'm out of clues or I'm just going to do what he did. So,
and it does work. You'll call in a lot of bulls doing that. Exactly. Just copying, mimicking them. My train of thought is totally different from that. I'm thinking about the ladies and the girls. And I'm strictly wanting to talk to the girls. I want to impress the girls. I don't give a crap about the bull. I just want to talk to his girls and really try to get on his bad streak, if you know what I mean.
Right.
The minute you do that and you start pretending you're a bull that's, raking trees and doing a breeding sequence. For one, if a bull hears you doing that, he knows you're with a cow that's ready to breed. And he wants part of that action. And on the other side of that, the cows hear you raking trees and being awesome. Now they want a part of that. So the boy wants a part of you. The girls want a part of you for different reasons. So that's kind of my thought on that side of it. And my whole season is based upon that breeding sequence, that calling sequence that I'm doing. And it's a no-fail tactic for me, and it leaves you. It simplifies everything down. Now you don't have to worry about advertising bugle because you're not advertising to anything. You're raking trees and you're moaning and groaning and doing that stuff. You don't have to location bugle because there's an elk over there already. The only time I'm location bugling, which is very rare here, anywhere in the Saddle Hills where I hunt, you will hardly ever hear me location bugle unless it's an hour or two into my sequence kind of thing. Because I don't want to give my location away to 100 other hunters that are out there. You know what I mean? Like, let's face it, the guys are all out there in droves. So if you can call really quietly and really sound authentic like an elk, that's your best bet. Obviously announcing with loud volume, you're going to get replies. But I kind of rely on being close, following the tracks, looking for the green poop, and then starting my calling sequence. So.
I find in my experience in the elk woods is a lot of those sounds that you talk about are not what you see on TV with head back, big bugles, like chat. Like, it's not like that. The sounds that the elk make are a lot quieter, where you're only hearing if you're within that, I'll call it under 100 yards. And sometimes it's hard to hear. You're like, what's that? Like, even if something knows you're there and it gives you that little search bugle where it's like, and it's just like, if you're digging in your pack or scrolling on your phone, it's something that you might miss, but they make such subtle noises that are so important, I find. And it's you're always waiting to hear one and be like, oh, it's over there, but it's they're quiet. So I really there was one bull I was hunting in particular this last season here, and I was hunting over a wallow.
a lick, wallow, spring, anything like that. That's kind of what it was. And I was literally just sitting in this one spot. Yeah. So, and basically the funny part is there's a ridge that follows around like 200 yards from this lick where this guy is. And I've been in there 3 or 4 times sitting this wallow waiting for that bull to come walking through. And the thing is, I heard another hunter up on the ridge, and the hunter was following the ridge. And previously, like half an hour before this, I had this bull bugling, not bugling, but he would just look up. Is all he would do. Just really low key. I mean, I was only 80 yards from him, and I could barely hear what he was doing. So this guy was walking this whole ridge system, and he's, and then he'll walk 50 yards. This guy, he was walking along and he bugled like, I swear to God, Jeff, he walked he did a full circle around me and the bull. Mm-hmm. And then once he got to the end, he bugled once, and then he started hoofing her all the way back out. And he bugled his head off the whole way out too.
Yeah.
So after he finally went by and went way past me, back into the cut line, and then he must have walked down the cut line. He was gone. I couldn't hear him anymore. I waited for about 45 minutes, and I was just silent, and I literally let out one little calf call, just like that, just to throw the sound out there to that elk, and he came back with a. That's all he gave me, right? Yeah. And I thought, okay, this is golden. Yeah. Sitting water holes, don't leave early. What I learned this year, so I strictly hunted wallows, water holes, little creek seeps where lots of tracks were coming in and they were drinking. I focused on water sources as mostly like for 90% of my season. That's what I did.
Right.
What I learned, believe it or not, I even sat tree stands, packed in my climber tree stand quite a bit. And what I learned blew me away. This bull here, I called him in the one morning. I was sitting in my tree stand, had my camera mount on the railing, ready to film everything. And this bull came walking in, but instead of coming directly into the wallow like he normally would, he came into the far left side. And there was a little trickle of water over there, but I'm blocked out by willows and trees. And I can't see nothing. I can see 10 once in a while, and that's about it. And literally, I can show you if I found it on my phone, I range find him, and he's 14 yards from me.
Oh.
I mean, absolute chip shot if he steps out in the open.
Yeah.
Well, me in my haste, because I was filming the center of the lick with my camera, like a fool, instead of letting the elk get his drink and then maybe he'll walk into the opening right in front of me, I go into like pure panic mode because this guy is huge, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm gonna shoot this guy. It's like 7:30, like he's gonna be down. And I'm thinking, okay, this is gonna be awesome. So I started adjusting my camera, and while I'm adjusting my camera, that bull, he literally has his head down, and I can hear him going.
He's drinking.
He's just slurping water like crazy. So I'm thinking, well, his head's down. I can get away with a little bit of movement, but keep in mind I'm 14 yards from this joker. So I move my hand like just like this.
Yeah.
To get to my camera, and then I'm adjusting the camera, and all of a sudden I hear his head comes up. And I'm like, oh frick. Like he just busted me moving. And literally, what I didn't know, and this is great for everybody that hunts water holes or hunts licks or anything like that, if an elk is drinking and his head is down, it's one of the only animals in all of North America, his eyes can rotate up without him moving his head. So just like me and you, we can look down and we can look our eyes up.
Yeah.
An elk can do the exact same thing with his eyes while his head is still down. So that's exactly, I could see this elk's head. his eyes looked right up at me in my tree stand. And he stared at me for probably 20 seconds in that pose.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his head came up like this. And his eyes were like rolled back in his head. And he thought like he's seen freaking Satan standing up in that tree or something. He did a whole 180 flip, and he was gone down that same trail that he walked in on. And I mean, it was like, I was like, oh, you freaking idiot. What did you just do? So, but
yeah, no, they're smart. And like you talked about, when that other hunter was there and he was bugling and doing a bunch of stuff, I mean, as much as we're in the woods, we are educating the elk as well, right? When they hear truck doors slam and a bugle at the first crack of daylight and whatnot, like they're not dumb. They're a hard animal to hunt, and it's I mean,
they are.
We educate them as much as they educate us. Yeah.
And unfortunately, like you say that, every elk is so different. Most of the time you do that, or you quad in somewhere and you park your quad and it's quiet for the next 200 or 300 yards all around wherever you were. Yeah. Well, 2 seasons ago, it was like, what was it, around mid-September, 15th or 17th in that area. Me and Jason quadded into an area, and I doubled Jason in to my one spot. He just jumped on the back of my quad. We only had to go a mile, so it was like no sense taking 2 quads. We got to the area where we wanted to hike in on the game trails and hunt this huge, kind of like a blowdown area. So when I got there, Jason's still on behind me, and we got our bows and stuff are all strapped down on the front of the rack. I backed into these trees, and there's some of those dead willows. I backed over them, getting into my parking spot, and they literally went like snapping these suckers right off, right?
Yeah.
Well, I shut the quad off. Literally right behind us, this freaking bull elk just screams his head off, and he's like no more than like 70 or 80 yards right behind us. Yeah. And it's still dark in that gray light. Like, it's not even, I said, Jay, you're going to have to climb off my quad and try to get your bow out. It's still dark, like, but you got to get your bow out so you're ready from when light comes up and it's legal, right?
Yeah.
Well, we both ended up getting off the quad. Jay did manage to get his bow and get an arrow knocked. And this elk was coming at us, Jeff. Literally, he was coming up. He ended up like 15 yards right in front of me and Jay in like a minute flat probably.
Yeah.
And it's pitch black. Me and Jay can't see him, but we can hear.
Yeah.
We can almost feel the wind of him breathing on us, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, like you can't do nothing. So, I mean, it's those instances where like they blow you away. It's like, what just happened here? Like this shouldn't happen. But it does. Yeah.
No, for sure. I just dropped a link into the chat for anybody. I want to get to for this to be interactive, and I thank everyone who's joining us. And I want you guys and girls to be able to ask questions on certain scenarios. So whether you want to type it in the chat or whether you want to click the link that I just did, you can come on. We can talk about it back and forth and go from there. And I see Steve's got one in the chat right now. So 2 questions, a funny one and one more serious. Steve, do you want to come on camera to ask it? Can I put you on camera? Give me a thumbs up. I can see you behind the scenes. We're going to throw them on there anyways. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well.
Awesome. So I'm going to put this on the screen as well. So if elk could talk, what do you think they'd say about hunters? And what's one myth about elk hunting you wish would die already? So Trav, how do you want to answer those ones?
Okay, if elk could talk, what do you think they would say about hunters? Oh man, look at those idiots!
And I don't think it's think that's a funny question because we talked about it. We educate them, right? Like, like it's a serious. I think it's a great question.
Yeah. I think honestly, they probably think, here's the next go around. This season's coming around again, and Because let's face it, opening morning, first thing elk from the 24th, they're not hearing no bugles whatsoever. But opening morning, August 25th, they're hearing in 20 different directions probably. And I'm thinking, it's on like Donkey Kong, right? So yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I've never thought about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think for me to answer that question, Steve, I think it's one of those ones where I will say, we see you, but you don't see us. I think so many times when you're doing a calling sequence and you're not hearing stuff, or maybe you hear something and you're like, was that a squirrel? Was this, was there that? Like any animal, I find them to be, I don't know how they can be 1,300 pounds and walk like mice through the forest. We'll be sitting there quiet, not making, like nothing in our hands, and just eyeballs and maybe a head on a swivel. And the next thing you know, all you see is this face, and they're just standing there 40 yards away. And it's like, how? I didn't hear you. I didn't see you. And how long have you been watching me? So I always live by, you do your calling sequences, you do what you do, but then it's not, there's nothing here. Do you want to like talk loud? Like, don't blow it away. There was one time Leon and I were hunting, and when we do our calling sequences, we're about 30 yards apart. We can see each other. We have hand signals for communication, and we go do our cold play or slow play, cold calling, breeding. We got a bunch of different things that we work on. So we're looking like, time to go. Do you want to go for a walk? We're like, yeah. So we're being really, really quiet. I get up out of my spot where I had my branch and I'm raking, and I get over to him and he puts his pack on and he's like, elk. And I'm like, where? And I'm talking loud. I'm like, where? He's like, right there. And I'm like, and I thought he's bullshitting me. And I look around, and as soon as I moved around, he crashed. Like, so we were ready to go. We had worked that sequence for at least an hour. We were going to walk another 500 yards down the trail and do it again. And sure enough, there was a bull 40 yards from him. All he had. Yeah. So that's my answer to question one.
Yeah. But yeah. What do you think?
For me, it's almost like the Avatar movie where I see you. So looking at it from the elk standpoint, we're the aliens in that area. And the more patience you have, like I said, I've not been successful with an elk. I haven't been elk hunting that much, but for deer and everything else, it's the patience and learn to recognize the sounds, as you guys have been talking about, recognize to use your eyes and really get a feeling for where they're living. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way or not, but I find the patience, what you said, don't go on the first day and start bugling around. You just sit and listen, because they're listening to everybody else. Be the invisible one that they are. So that's more of that's the way I approach things.
Yeah.
So my other question is, there's a lot of myths about elk hunting. I've gone with guides and things like this, and I hear the different stories about what should or shouldn't do and things like this. Do you have a myth or something that you hear repeatedly from hunters that you just say, "Oh, come on, go away with that one"?
That's a really good question.
I don't know if
basically,
I have one.
The only thing
I don't think I do.
On the top of my head, the only thing I can think of is the elk rut, September 20th. That's the elk rut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely farthest thing from the truth, because like we said earlier, those cows are all coming in. They're spread out, and they're spread out for a reason, because that bull can only service so many cows. Right. And people don't realize this, but that herd bull will service that cow when she comes in estrus. He'll mount her 2, 3, 4 times, and then he's blue in the balls. He's got to go lay down. That's when the satellite bulls come around. Now, lead bull number 2, he comes in, he'll mount that same cow. He'll breed her 2 or 3 times. He's got to go lay down in the bush. Number 3 bull comes up. He's going to mount that same cow 2 or 3 times, and he's going to go lay down. That cow is bred by 1, 3, 5, 10 different bulls, and we don't even know it. And so that's my thing right there is they're not all breeding at September 20th. I mean, that's why guys shoot elk in December, and that's a big giant 6x6, and he had 25 cows with him, and there's still one girl in that herd that he's sniffing around, and he's gonna get to breed her. And those cows know if they don't take 21 days later, they'll come back into estrus and they'll do it again. And that system keeps going on August, September, October, right in to
No, that's
probably.
I did not know that. And, when I'm talking to, oh, you got to be at this week or this second week, etc. So I appreciate that about the cycle. Guys, I've got to, it's bedtime out here. I got to get going, but this was great. Absolutely great. Look forward to it again.
Right on.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate you joining in.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
So that's one of the questions that I had on here too. And everyone's going to have a different answer for this, but the one day on your calendar that you won't miss elk hunting, your most favorite day, do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Do you? You want to share it? Or is it a top secret one?
No, it's no surprise. Honestly, August 25th, the morning, 100%. I haven't missed the opening day. I missed one about 5 or 6 years ago because I had a job. I was working a full-time job, and my boss screwed me out of my first week. So
that's why you quit and started building elk reeds.
No, I made a deal with the manager. I said, I went to him and I was really pissed. And I said, I will work opening morning, but opening morning number 2, 3, 4, the rest of the week, I'm gone no matter what. So, and he knew I was pissed. So, August 25th, the morning, 100%. It's the first time of the year the elk are going to be the most stupidest elk you've ever hunted in your life because they forgot everything from the previous year. So that's the morning. And then
nice.
It's going to sound really stupid. My next favorite is October 1st.
Okay.
Like so far apart.
Interesting.
But October 1st is a magical day.
It's funny. I always try to get out that August opening day because we wait all year for this, right? So it's like I'm going in. It's I've never had great success. Like a lot of times I don't even get a response and I'm like, oh well, it was just great to be out. And then this last year I went out by myself, which I normally don't do, but when I do, I call guys like you. I'm like, hey, I'm going out by myself. Are you around if I get something down? And it was on the morning of the 25th that I was there. I go through my cold calling sequence that I do, and I got a little bit of a close response, and it was like low search bugle, like within 30 yards. And I was like, oh my God, like I got a response opening morning. And then I was like, holy shit, is this really going to happen? Am I folding my tag on day? I didn't fold my tag on day one. I never did see them, but it's weird that people have different days. I think for me, it's always, I don't know. My favorite 4 to 5 days is that 13th to 18th mark. That's where I feel I've had the most response, the most activity. And that's just, I don't know. That's just my week. And some reasons I can start with the bow, and if it's the last day or two, I can pull out the rifle and go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's different.
So question on you, Jeff. What is your reaction the first bugle that you hear in that situation that you just explained? What was your first thought? Like your very first thought?
First thought was excitement. I was just like, wow, what I did worked. Like whatever I just did, he responded. He didn't come running in, but he was in the area, and it was just wow, I wait all year for this. And then the next thought was more of a, okay, what do I do? He knows where I am. I've made the sounds. He's coming in. Be patient. Wait, did he see me? Did he smell me? Did he circle me? And then he did it a couple times, and then he shut up. And then I replay it in my head, and I'm like, what could I have done differently? Should I have been louder? And then I'm like, what time of year was it? Did he have a cow? And there's so many questions.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you taught me a long time ago, call in every bull. And I think that is so important. And when you do it long enough, you're going to hear, I remember the first bull I shot, we were, I don't know, 3-4 kilometers. Like we weren't where anyone else was going. At least I didn't think so. And we're down there and all of a sudden there was a response and I'm like, holy shit. And it came closer. And then I'm like, okay. And then it was raking on a tree. And I kid you not, it sounded like someone took the plastic tube and they were raking on a willow branch. And Leon and I turned and we looked at each other. We're like, is that a hunter? Like it didn't sound like a bull raking on the bush. And I'm like, that's a hunter. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just wait. And there was like a little gully in between us. It was like 15 yards across, and that's where the bull was, and that's where we were on the other side. And so it did some raking. You could hear some more bulls, and there was like 2 or 3 bulls. And I'm like, wow, we're in this is awesome. This is happening. And then I heard what sounded exactly like a hoochie mama. And I'm like, and we looked at each other again and we're like, it's a bloody hunter. Like he's raking his, like, well, he's pretty good, but there's some of this stuff that sounds like it's a hunter. And then the big beige body walks through the bush and I'm like, it's not a hunter. It's an elk. And I mean, that was my first one, but the sounds didn't always sound real. And there's elk that you hear that you think are monsters and they come out and they're a spike, and you hear some that growl and you're like, is that one sick? And it's, for me, it's call in every bull. So there's a question from here from Sean O'Shea. I'm not sure if he's a relative of yours, same last name. I'm sure it's not all that common, but the question here is what to do when they call back but won't commit to coming in, not once but daily throughout multiple days. Good chance he's a herd bull with cows. Any way to get him to come in? So it sounds like you're getting repeat, same spot, same bull, same response, but he's not coming out of that bubble. What do you suggest?
Yeah. So basically right there, that's telling me if it's day after day, Sean's right. Absolutely. And funny story, there's 2 Sean O'Sheas, believe it or not. There's my cousin, Sean O'Shea, lives in Grand Prairie. He's a principal, or he's the head guy at the school association. I can't remember what it's called. And then there's the world champion elk holder, Sean O'Shea, in, is it Manitoba or Saskatchewan?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure where it was. But I think he was the current world elk champion. But anyways, either way, with that, honestly, with that there, I would say the only way you're going to call that bull in, because number one, I'm thinking he's probably going to have cows for sure, and he's probably a herd bull. So right away, do not cow call, no matter what, because you'll chase those girls away, and the bull's going to go right with them. The only thing I've found is to get really aggressive with raking, and I learned this on a big bull. I'll tell you where it was. It was up in the Saddle Hills. There was a big 8x7 that I hunted for 4 years in a row. No, I never did get him, but I came dang close. So what happened in there, morning one, I went in and I didn't know about the cow call. So morning, I got within 150 yards of him and his cows, and I let out 2 cow calls. His girls rounded up, and over the ridge they went, and the bull followed, and he bugled and bugled and bugled. I was like standing there going, crap, what the heck happened there? Like, what did I do? So I give him a day break, and then I thought, okay, well, I won't hunt him that night. I'll come back the next morning. So the next morning I walk in there, and I have my wind checker, and I'm puffing it and checking the wind. Wind is 100% perfect. Okay, this is awesome. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to bugle at him. So I go in there, and I bugle, and I'm like waiting, and all of a sudden I hear the cows going over the ridge, and the bull going with them. And I'm like, okay, well, what the heck? But he didn't like the cow calls. He didn't like my bugle. Like, I must really suck. Like, I'm bad at this game. Like, these elk don't like me.
I said that for the first 10 years of my elk life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, the third morning, and I give him a whole day break. The next day, I didn't go back and hunt him. I went back the next day after that. So it was a Tuesday when I put him over the ridge. Wednesday, he had the whole break. Nothing. I didn't go in there. Thursday, I went back and came up on the ridge, checked the wind. Perfect. The wind is perfect because that's how my plan is, to come with the wind every time anyway. So whether I had to circle around or vice versa, you're going in with the wind perfect no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, okay, he didn't like the cow calls. He didn't like the bugle. What else can I do? So I go back to, I learned this from actually the late Wayne Carlton, who passed away last year. He said, move really slow. If you're moving slow, move slower. And there was one video where he always said, if you're unsure at any time, rake a tree, rake a tree, rake a tree. Never fail. So I grabbed a branch, and this sucker was 12-foot branch. It's one of those trees that's laying down. It's dead. There's no bark. It's smooth as a baby's bottom. I grabbed this sucker, and I'm holding on to it, and it's like, holy crap, this thing's big. And I had my bow hanging on my holder here. I used to have a holder that would hold my bow on the side. Well, I start raking this tree, and I'm raking, and the bull just starts screaming. I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is awesome. So I give him a little freaking bugle again. I thought, well, I got him bugling. I'll give him a bugle and call right back to him. I bugled to him. That bugger, the cows started going over the ridge, and the bull started following. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. Like, this is crazy. So I start raking the tree some more. And the bull bugles again. So I keep raking, and I'm raking. And to this point, I'm like, okay, raking. Well, the bull, he's still up on that ridge, and he's not coming back down. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, okay. And I can hear him. He's starting to go away from me a little bit more. So now I'm like really raking this tree, and I'm smashing it. And it's 10 feet long at the start. And by the time I'm finished with it, it's the length of my bugle tube. But I'm just scraping this tree like this and like smashing it. And that bull kept going away. And I'm like, I literally started talking to him. I'm like, you coward, like, get back here, like, stop running. And I was like, F-bomb at him, like, you freaking, you know what I mean? And I grabbed another tree, and I just started smashing it and destroying it. Well, that bull turned, and he started coming down the ridge. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So I kept raking and smashing, and then he's getting really close. Like, oh, crap, okay. I threw the stick down, and I went to grab my bow so I could knock an arrow. I looked at my bow, and my strings are limp. They're literally just hanging. That tree I was raking with, the big one, hit my bow string where I'm supposed to knock the arrow, and it knocked my string right off my freaking cams. So here's this bull coming. He's screaming his head off. I finally turned him, and now he's mad, and he's challenging me. He's now like 35 yards and coming in 25 yards, and he's right there in front of me. And he's like, just lip balling at me like crazy.
Yeah.
And there I am. I'm pushing on my cam. I'm like trying everything to get this string back on my bow. And you cannot restring a compound bow for the life of you without some kind of tool. So this bull literally, he parallels me at 25 yards. And you see it in the shows all the time. They put their antlers back and they just walk, and they're paralleling their adversary, right? And you're just walking like this. I walk out on that game trail. I'm like backtracking, trying to get my string back on my bow. And I'm not calling. I'm not doing anything at this point. This bull followed me for 150 yards all the way out till I got out to the pipeline. And the whole time he was lip balling, screaming at me. Jeff, I could have shot that joker 100 times because he walked through so many openings had I had an arrow knocked.
Yeah.
But that's the one time, that's the only way I found to turn like one of those bulls, that he won't come in no matter what. But I had to move in really close. Like I was only 150 yards from him at that point. Yeah. I think if you're 200 yards out and you're trying to call to him and get him to come in, I think it's going to be a losing battle every time, because the girls are going to round up and they're going to leave. Or they're just going to stay right there. He's going to hold his ground. Yeah. And the minute you try to go in on him, he's going to bust you sooner or later. Or not so much him, but one of the female's eyes are going to bust you, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I found. You got to move in close, and then that's what I found. Just start raking really hard and really aggressively, and fingers crossed, hope for the best. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you also stop one of those bulls that's a runner. And they keep
Right.
going away from you, and you you run up and you think, okay, he was 200 yards, so I closed 100 yards. You bugle, and then he bugles from 300. You're like, oh shit, he's running away. He keeps going. So
Yeah.
you close another 200 yards and you bugle, and he's another 200 yards past you again, right? That's the only way to get one of those jokers to turn, is get really aggressive with them.
Yeah, it's I talk about the bubble a lot too, right? Like the bulls seem to have this comfort zone around them, and if you're outside of that, they might stay just that far away from you, right? And it's I haven't worked out a complete science to it, but it's like, okay, we got to go and we got to go now. And you're going in and you're going in quick and you're coming in aggressive. So it's got no choice. It's like, holy shit, I'm coming to fight you. And then you better be ready. But yeah, it's like that. And sometimes when I do it, I bust them out and they leave even quicker. And it's like, oh, what did I do wrong? Right. And it's, I don't know. It's nothing. Sometimes nothing ever works the same way twice, but great tip of raking. Like if nothing else is happening, rake loud. And I know exactly, I've never knocked a string off my bow, but man, when I'm looking for sticks in the bush to rake a tree with, I look and I get so mad. I'm like, this one's broke, it's busted, it's rotten. I'm like, and once I get a solid stick, I'm like, I'm tempted to carry that with me for the rest of the day, because it's just, there's nothing better than finding a perfect raking stick, one that's solid. You can knock it against the trunk of a tree, you can get leaves off the branches, and yeah.
If you zoom in on that picture of my calling setup zone, you'll see an elk anther on the back of my pack. It's a 2-point. I pack that with me everywhere I go now, and it's you rake it on a poplar tree or something, or smash it against a poplar tree, and it's like clunk, clunk, and it rakes just absolutely awesome. So that's what I use now.
Okay, I see it there. There's while I get that picture up, Travis has a question. Is cow calling more successful than bugling? I know you alluded to that one a little bit ago, but take a stab at that one.
So Travie, I met Trav up in the hills. Cow calling I don't do. I just don't do, because it's going to scare the other cows away. Calf calling is absolutely gold. And then bugling. You're gonna have two schools of thought. Yeah, there you can see my elk antler on my pack. That's the one I carry with me all the time. So you got two schools of thought. You're gonna be some guys are gonna be buglers, and other guys are gonna be cow callers. And we all know those guys that have killed multiple bulls just by cow calling. And I just haven't had that much luck cow calling myself. I've called in lots of bulls with a calf call. Because bulls and cows are maternal, so you throw out calf calls, get really demanding with it. You're gonna find you're actually gonna call in bigger bulls, and you're gonna call in 5 points and the 6 points. They're coming in to check on that little calf because something's not right. There's something going on. He wants to know why this little guy's calling like insistently. So he's gonna come in and check it out. And then number 2, the cows are going to come in to check on that calf. And if that bull hasn't already come in to check out, the calf with the cows, he's going to be following the cows. So let those cows go right on past, and you should hopefully, fingers crossed, get a shot at that bull as he's going.
I want you to try. I'm hoping the sound will pick it up. Can you demonstrate what a calf sound would sound like? And from my experience, it's just one tone. It's not the it's just it's just very short and one tone.
Yeah. So let's try. I'll do a count and see if you hear this.
Sure. Yeah, I hear the voice part of it. We're missing the squeak, the reed sound, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if there's anything on my side I can do, but
what I can try, Trav? Let me I'm going to turn down your microphone lower. Keep doing it, and I'll see if it works. Man, and that we even practiced that the other night when we made sure that the microphones were going to pick up the sound. So that's something changed. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I no, it's probably my computer because I still hear a little static every once in a while on my end.
Okay.
So there's something happened to my computer since I don't know what. But
again, to circle back, so a calf sound is going to be more effective than a cow because both bulls and cows are going to respond to the calf sound.
Yeah, exactly. And just to explain the cow mew is EU, 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 and a calf is just really half of the cow call, literally.
I'm going to put myself on the spot and I'm going to see if I haven't practiced this all winter, but we'll see if my microphone picks it up.
Yeah, see if it works on your end.
Oh. What does this taste like? Coffee and Bailey's? I don't know what I was drinking last time I had this in my mouth.
I was going to say, what is that, whiskey?
I don't know if that came across.
I don't hear it on my end, but the other people may hear it.
Yeah. Microphones don't like to pick up the high-pitched stuff, but
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's my thing. I'm a bugler myself. I love bugling. I love chuckling. I just love like all that stuff. That the advertising bugle, which is the growly type bugle.
For sure.
I do a lot of that because when I'm advertising, I'm like getting down and dirty with it, trying to sound awesome to draw in those cows, which will draw in the bulls, eventually. And then a lot of chuckling and a lot of moaning and groaning. And it sounds funny, but you chuckle and you moan and groan. That's a bull trying to get a cow to stand so he can breed her. And any bull in the vicinity that hears that going on, he's missing out on the party, so he wants to be part of the action. You know what I mean? So, and that's exactly what you're doing when you're doing your scenario calling, your cold calling, your advertising bugles, cow party.
That is so huge, right?
Any of those things.
And the way that it was taught to me, learned, and kind of, and what I encourage everyone who's watching, listening right now is the information that we share here may work for you and it may not. And then you learn from other people, and then you learn from elk in the woods itself, and you kind of develop your own way of doing anything. But the thing that always came back to me, no matter if it was Corey Jacobson, Travis O'Shea, or Paul Medell, anybody that you watch, you kind of mix it all together for yourself. And it's one of those ones where this worked for me now, but it didn't work for me then. And there's always different ways to do it. But the biggest thing that comes back to me is you're painting a picture. The elk can't see, most of the time they can't see you. They will eventually see you, but you want to create a scenario in their minds for them to go, what's going on over there? Whether that's a breeding sequence, whether that's a fight, whether that's a lost calf or a calf, like you are painting a picture that they want to know. You're piquing their curiosity. You want them to be like, I need to know what's going on. Whatever that situation is, it's emotional. I think that's my biggest takeaway from everything is paint that picture. When you're in the woods, paint that picture so the elk can't resist. No matter what that picture is you're painting, they want to know what it is.
Yeah. I have a secret tactic that I've never ever shared. And I'm thinking I might share it with you, but I'm a little reluctant. And the reason being, most people are not going to believe what I'm saying. And it's so far-fetched, they're going to be like, that Travis is so full of shit. He's just going to destroy a whole hunt for me here right now. So, but Jason has seen it. Brian has seen it. I think Jason was there. Who was with me? Who else was with me? Justin, I think, was with me. There's 3 or 4 of us hunting one morning. So we were calling to this bull, and there was a bull over there, and there was another bull over here, and they were bugling back and forth to each other. One of them was a herd bull with cows, and no matter what I did, he would not leave the cows, no matter what. So it was rifle season, because I sent Justin up ahead with his rifle to try to slip in on this bull, because the bull was only maybe 150, 180 yards up ahead of us in the timber, and he just wouldn't leave the cows and come down. So I thought, well, I'll send Justin up through the trail, sneak up in there on the game trail, and see if he can get close to either that satellite bull or the herd bull. We didn't know which one was which at that time. And I thought, well, he'll get really close. He's got a rifle. He'll get a shot at one of these, right? Well, he goes sneaking up there, and the bulls are bugling back and forth at each other, and all of a sudden it goes quiet. And I'm like, okay, well, that's really weird. Justin must be up in the vicinity, and they must have caught movement or smelled them or something, but I wasn't sure. So, and I'm like, Jason was carrying his bow at that time. So there were some spruce trees over to the left. I'm like, and I'm checking my wind, like literally just checking the wind constantly, like I always do. And I'm just, checking. And the wind is going, down to those kind of spruce trees. So I'm like, Jay, you need to at least get into the spruce trees or, downwind of them just a hair. But I said, if there's a game trail coming through those spruce trees, just get right on it and sit right there, like stand right there with your bow. Well, he was really reluctant because I had sent Justin through with his rifle just 10 minutes before that. So I understand, like, Jay's pretty like, I don't think I really want to go in there, but I'm like, okay, so here's the trick. You're not gonna believe this. I literally started barking at those two bulls, like
an elk bark, a warning bark,
loud as I could bark, and I got really insistent with it. Like at Jeff, I did this for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes straight, just barking all different directions. Well, Jason's standing right beside me, and there was a great big tree that had for some reason, it had a big dirt pile piled up on top of it. So I got up on top of this dirt pile, and now I'm like 2 feet up. So a short 5 foot nothing guy like me, I gained 2 feet. So I'm looking over top all this brush, and I'm going, oh, okay, this is freaking awesome. Well, Justin comes walking out through the spruce trees over here, and he's off to our side. And all of a sudden I look over here, and here's the herd bull, giant 6x6, standing on, there's a great big spruce tree. Justin's on this side, the herd bull's on this side, and me and Jason are over here 55 yards away, and I'm looking right at that bull, and he's just, ears are just peered on me, like, oh, I got you, like, I see you, like, clean as day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jay, the bull's right here. And Jay's like, no way, no, that's Justin over there. I'm like, no, that's the bull right there. So Jay's got an arrow knocked, and he's ready to launch, like if this bull comes any closer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jay couldn't really see him too good. He could see him a little bit, but I'm up on that dirt lump, so I can see him plain as day. Well, Justin and this bull almost are like going around the tree like this from one another. And keep in mind, Justin's with his rifle, so I'm waiting to hear a boom like any second, like he's gonna drop this sucker, right?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen, and this bull turns around because I stopped barking, and he goes back up through that spruce pine tree thicket, and literally right back up, right to where he came from. And I'm going, how did this happen? Like, what happened here? Like, we didn't shoot him. What's going on? So,
but the barking got him to
barking. Yeah.
And for those that don't know, when an elk barks, you're basically doing a warning and kind of alerting everything else of like, there's something not right here. Like,
Yeah.
Be on alert.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And by me just doing it insistently, that bull, he left his cows and he came over to see what the heck was going on. Like, what's up with this other bull? Is he barking at another bull and he's just really mad or what? But so I've done that 2 or 3 times since then, and it's actually worked really good.
Wow. I think the only time I've ever barked back is when I've been busted and you get barked at, right? Like, and it's like, hey, they're barking at you because they're like, hey, something ain't right. And it's kind of like, I'm an elk, idiot. Like,
totally.
Don't worry about it. But yeah.
Wow. And I learned this from I was with my buddy Sheldon, and he had a message on here earlier. But we were on this elk, and he was bugling back, and we couldn't just pull him out from the back timber there. And so we had some guys that had drove past us when we were gearing up on the road to go in and chase this elk.
Yeah.
Well, had I known, they actually drove their truck up and around and up on the ridge. And they got out of their truck and they were coming down right into our area. And because they heard us bugling, they heard the elk bugling. So I could hear them coming, and I'm with Justin, and I'm like, no way, I'm not having this. They're not gonna sneak in on our elk and shoot one of them out from under us. Yeah. So I started barking to this elk just to scare him, get him out of there. Yeah. And I learned really quick. And Justin's just on the ground laughing. He's like, no, you didn't. Like, no, you're not doing this. And I'm barking. And this bull actually circled around me and Sheldon, and literally we could hear him over in the bush over here. But these other hunters are way over here now. So they all heard them and kind of pushed over to our side. And he didn't really bugle or nothing at us, but we could hear him over there. Yeah. And that really clicked a switch that day as to, okay, just paint a picture, paint a scene, do something. Cause something to make their curiosity just peak, that they have to come and have a look, right? And that did it right there. And then that day when I was out with Justin and Brian and them, and I started barking at this bull, and Jason saw that big 6x6 walk right out. Yeah. You would never think something like that would happen, right?
Would get them to stop and come check it out, but
yeah. And I'm not saying use that every time you go out, but if he's hung up and nothing will happen, and maybe that's something Sean can try. You got nothing to lose because the bull's not coming in anyway. So try something, and it might just be the ticket, right?
Yeah. Another question that Sean has on here, and I really like this one. We talk about the sounds elk make when you're really close that you won't hear from far away. And I call it glunking when a bull to come in. So have you ever used glunking to get a bull to come in to close that last little bit?
Yeah, I do a lot of glunking. That's part of my breeding sequence.
Right.
I didn't mention it before, but I don't know if any of you have my little rip bugle tube. This is my new one. I made the rump shaker, which is so. This was my original rump shaker. That's the original rump shaker, and this one has just a wide open end. This one is my little rip. This one has a really small end, and what this has, it has a whole silicone that covers the whole end. And if you can see in here, this thickness is like really thick. It's double the thickness. So there's a part over here that's really thin, and then this part gets really thick. And any of you that have this tube, you'll see what it is. What that does, that's my built-in glunker.
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole purpose behind that.
Yeah.
And what that's for. And I do a lot of glunking, honestly. Like when I'm chunkling and I'm just doing this really close up, and that sound travels, believe it or not. And those elk know exactly what that sound is.
Yeah.
Right.
And an elk glunks when, Travis? When is an elk gonna naturally make that sound?
So an elk is glunking when he's in amongst his girls and he doesn't want to bugle, he doesn't want to talk to any of the other elk that are 100 yards away. He's literally, what he's doing, he's taking his tongue and he's licking his nose, because on on an elk's nose, they have millions of sensors. And what those are, every time he's licking, he's licking those off, and it's so he can smell better. So he'll literally be right behind a cow, and he's licking his nose, and he's smelling her basically at the same time is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that communication, it sounds guttural. It comes right from his gut, and like his whole gut is like,
you can see it just bounces.
Yeah, exactly. His lungs are slopping around in his chest, and that's the sound you're hearing. But basically that's causing it. And I think why his lungs and everything's sloshing around in there, it's because he's licking those senses on his nose. And
he's trying to taste the air. And
exactly. He's trying to taste that air. And it's only something you have to be like, I'm going to say 30, 40 yards away. You'll hear a bull glunking, or you'll hear the bull like walking behind the cows down the trail or whatever, and you'll hear the glunking for sure. Very few people get to hear it, but
and while we're talking about that, and let's talk a little bit about the noises they make, like even the panting and the growling that they make. And I've heard about it, I've seen it online, and it was so weird. I did one of my things that I start off with is a slow play sequence where I'm a cow and a bull, and eventually they talk to each other, and then they get interested in each other, and hopefully another bull in the area will advertise or sound off and be like, hey, I want a piece of that. And then I start talking to them. And it's weird because when a bull gets excited and it's making the noises that I didn't know elk would make. I'd hear about it, but like, I've never seen this. And then it wasn't clear. And if I didn't know, I would think, is that a bear or something? But it was like, and like from far away. And I'm like, holy shit, I got an elk coming. And 5 years before that, I would never know that was an elk coming. I'm like, oh, there's something growling over there. But the noises he was making, the panting and the growling, because I had worked him up with that slow play into a breeding sequence, that he came in and he was like, yeah, I'm here to take your cow. But the noises they make are so important to listen and identify. It's crazy what they do.
And that's what drives us on year after year for this. I mean, I've been hunting elk since I was big enough to follow my dad through the snow. Like my dad and my uncle would make tracks through the snow, and I would jump track to track because I was so little.
In their boot tracks.
Yeah, boot tracks, So I'm laughing at that comment from Sheldon Drover there. That's who was with me that day. He said it was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was on the ground freaking. I probably got a picture of him rolling around laughing.
For anyone that's with us still and whatnot, if you have a question, throw it in, or I will actually, if you wanted to come on and ask it on screen or whatever, if it's easier to explain a situation, just click that link that I just threw in the chat there. Feel free. The one thing that we didn't touch on yet, which is huge, and you taught me this years ago, Travis, is elk's ability to hear and pinpoint exactly where that is. And we hear a lot of people talking about hang up spots where the bull wouldn't come anywhere closer or this and that. And it's, I find it so important that an elk can pinpoint where that sound is coming from. And what they will do is they will move to a spot where they can now see where that is. So if you're on a setup and you're 200 yards away across an open meadow and you're calling here and the bull comes out here and they can see you, it's going to be able to pinpoint that last sound they heard, right? So over the years, I've learned so much in calling setups where I would used to look for the big areas because the more I could see, the better chance I have, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like those tighter areas. So they have to come in to see where it is. There's so many different situations for a one-person calling setup if you're hunting by yourself or two people.
Yeah.
But what can you tell us about kind of hang-up spots, how to avoid them, the best thing to use to not have a hang-up spot?
Yeah. So the biggest thing what I do, especially when I'm like solo hunting, you saw my setup there, my calling station. Well, I'll have another shooting station beside that's downwind of that spot, but ahead another 50, 60 yards. And so what I do from my calling setup, I'll call, and then my bow that was knocked there, I'll grab that bow and I'll head to my shooting spot. And that's exactly, it's far enough ahead where if an elk walked out to look at my calling spot, he's going to be standing in my bow zone, and I'm going to be right on top of him. It's something, it's almost like the same as when you're hunting with a buddy, and you'll put your buddy up ahead, 50, 60 yards and off to the downwind side, hoping that elk's going to kind of circle right around him. So what I do when I'm by myself, I'll call, do my calling for a minute and a half, and then I grab my bow and I quickly hustle to my shooting location. But I try not to break no branches, I'm on the game trail, and I'm moving as quietly but quickly as possible. Once I'm in my shooting spot there, no calling, no raking, no doing anything. You're literally standing there with your bow like this, and you're ready, right? Nothing happens. 15, 20 minutes go by. Back to your calling station. Do your calling for another minute and a half, and then hustle right back to your shooting spot again. And now you're sitting there with your bow again, ready. So that's kind of what takes the boredom away from my calling scenarios, because you're calling, you're moving, and you're waiting, and you're on pins and needles because you're like, something's coming. Like, that bull's coming, and you're going to get a shot at him, right? So,
great advice there. And like you say, you're not making any noise there, because even though the last sound that elk heard, whether it was a bugle, a chirp, a rake, anything 40 yards ago, you go and you break a branch where your shooting lane is, that's your new hang up spot. Like, he's now identified that there's something there. So just to be like as invisible and quiet as possible.
Yeah, that becomes your new calling location. If you break a branch or step on anything,
you break a branch, and I guess you're raking that tree again.
Exactly. What he's going to think automatically, that bull moved, and now he's like, okay, now I got him over here. So
for sure. Travis has a question up here. Can you pull a bull out of his bed midday? I've never been able to, but what are some of the things that might get a lazy bull midday to want to play?
Yeah, so on those days where I'm lucky enough to get to hunt the whole day, because being an elk call manufacturer, I usually only get to hunt mornings, and then I have to get my butt back here to keep building for store orders, because one store order will take me 4 or 5, 6 days if it's a big order to complete, because I make everything from scratch. So the midday hunts are special to me because I've hunted the whole morning. Maybe I've called elk, maybe I've heard elk, maybe nothing happened. But regardless, at the end of my morning hunt, I'm up on a ridge somewhere, or I'm somewhere at a wallow, or somewhere really cool, where the elk are coming down and gonna drink at a water spring or something like that. But it's usually a really awesome spot that looks pretty elky to me. And that's kind of where I have my sandwich area, and it's, elk are going to be in the area anyway. So I sit down, take a break, have a sandwich, and drink some water and whatever, take the pack off and kind of relax for a little bit. And hopefully I'm close to like a bedding area at that time. Like, hopefully during the morning, I've put an elk to bed. The cows have went up, bedded down, and the bull's right close to them, right? That's one of the awesomest time. Sit down, have your sandwich, do what you want to do, just relax for a little bit. Let that bull lay down and get comfortable for an hour or 2 hours. And then again, that's when I'll literally just nonchalantly just rake a tree just a little bit. And that bull's going to hear it. He's going to be like, a bull followed us up here. And I think in my head, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, that bull's thinking another bull followed us up there. So you just kind of put that in his brain just for a second, just raking a tree real lightly. And then you let it go for 20 minutes, half an hour. And then you rake that tree again a little bit louder. Oh, okay. Now the bull tweaked up again, right? He's tired. he wants to close his eyes and he wants to have a little nap because his girls are, but you're kind of pestering him and you're in his ear the whole time. So after 3 or 4 times of this, that bull's probably going to get a little anxious and he's going to get up. And a good chance he's going to kind of walk over. He's probably not going to bugle, but he's going to slip over and he's going to be real quiet and just come walking around to the downwind side of you because he wants to scent check you is what he wants to do. So that's something really good for that.
So he will, if you're continuous with it, but not over pressuring that, eventually he's going to you're painting the picture. So
yeah, exactly. And the reason I'm not bugling, I'm not interested in bugling because those cows have picked that bull and they're comfortable with that bull at that time. So the minute you go in there and bugle, it's just like a cow call. If you cow call or if you say the wrong thing in your bugle, those girls could get up and they could go over that ridge. And then that dang bull's going to follow again, right? Now you got nothing. So by just doing a light little tree rake, the cows know it, the bulls know it. It's not alarming. It's not scary. Elk do it all day, every day out there. Yeah. And it's just one of those things that's just golden. But that's where you said earlier, patience, right?
Yeah.
Patience is the number one key in all my hunting. And a lot of guys don't like hunting with me because I move slow. I walk slow. I hunt slow because for better words, I'm on pins and needles from the moment I get out of my truck or off the quad or whatever, your mountain bike, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's go time. I'm in hunt mode. And it's just like Wayne Carlton said, like, if you think you're moving slow down 50% more. And that's been in my head since I watched that 1986 video or whatever it was with Wayne Carlton. Yeah. That stuck my head my whole life. And it pays dividends because you move slow, you start thinking like an elk, you become an elk.
Yeah.
Elk things happen when you are an elk. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you start calling an elk and that elk comes in, don't stop calling to him. And that's what I said with you a long time ago. Like, keep playing with that elk. Call every single elk in, no matter what. If you can see him, if he's at 40 yards, call to him. If he's at 30 yards, call to him. Yeah. Elk cannot reason that, oh, that's Jeff. He's a human being. Or that's Trav. He's a stump right there, standing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, once you start calling to them and they're looking at you the whole time, you can get away with a little tiny bit of movement. As long as you're moving slow, you know what I mean? Really slow. You keep calling and chuckling and doing whatever to that elk. He'll just kind of circle around and try to get downwind of you. And I was with Dylan here a couple of years ago. We did that exact same thing. I called up a bull. He walked right past Dylan, like within 15 yards, walked right around in behind of me, and it had a great big green willowy tree. Yep. I turned around and I started pulling the leaves off the branches, and I'm like just dropping them in front of me. And then I'm like pulling more off and like pretending I'm eating them and just dropping them in front. That elk is just kind of like looking at me going like, oh, that looks yummy. Like he's eating those leaves.
Yeah.
That elk turned around and he walked away about 25 yards and he started rubbing the crap out of a tree. Like Dylan could have shot that elk 100 times in the wide open, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's a matter of not being scared to call to them and just, you have to work into it slowly and gain their trust. And then you can keep talking to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No, it's cool. There's
good stuff on that. Sean's got another one here with thoughts on why some of the worst callers are successful year in and year out. The ones you can tell are humans, no doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So back in the day I was a surveyor and my party chief was Corey. And we were kind of the lucky surveyors. We got to go in and scout all the areas for where we're going to put the access roads and the leases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, September, I'm an elk hunter, so I take my calls on my bugle tube, and I was teaching Corey a little bit how to bugle at that same time. Well, we pulled up to this one lease, and there was a creek in the back, and there was elk tracks everywhere. And we're like, okay. So Corey shut his diesel truck off, and we waited 5-10 minutes, and then we get out, and Corey's got his bugle tube, and he was a little nervous to call at first. So I said, okay, well, I'll give one. And I did a nice, perfect, like you would do on the pro stage, just perfect bugle. In my mind, it's like, oh, that's money. That's perfect, right? Nothing. We wait. I do another one. Perfection. Just perfect, right? Nothing. Not a whisper, not a cow call, nothing. And Corey's like, oh, okay, well, nothing's happening. And I'm thinking in my mind, well, nothing's here. Corey let her rip because you can't hurt nothing at this point now.
Yeah.
So Corey gets out there, and like any new caller, it would be like, and it wasn't. Corey no sooner finished his bugle and giant, huge reply bugle back, right? And Corey's like looking at me going, did you hear that? Like, that's freaking awesome. So to this day, I have no idea. I think it's like me and you when we're learning to talk and learning anything. Our voices are squeaky, and we're, it's just, that's how our voices are. That's just, that's how an elk is, I think, too.
Speaking of a voice, and man, my tube's 2 totes deep underneath my shelf here, and it sucks that we can't do it. But for calling, and when we talk about practice calling, which is different than communication. So I think most people are going to practice when they're in their vehicles, right? I think everyone talks about that. Keep your reeds with you, practice and whatnot. I found one of the things that really helped me when I was calling is to turn my phone on and record myself. Doesn't need to be, just needs to record the volume. I'd put my phone on my console and I'd be like, location bugle. And I'd say location bugle, and I'd hammer on it, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounded pretty good. And then I'd play it back, and I'm like, no, that didn't sound good at all. I didn't get that high note, right? And it's kind of like when you hear your voice on TV or the radio for the first time, you're like, oh my God, do I really sound like that? Yeah, you really sound like that. So it was good to play back so you know what to change. And I think one of the things a lot of people are scared of is when they're bugling, there's a certain amount of sound that's coming from the reed, but most of that is coming from your voice. I know when I'm bugling and advertising, like I'm making this exact sound. I'm like, and it sounds like a monkey. Or if I'm chuckling, I'm like, everyone's like, well, how do you chuckle? I'm like, pretend you're a baboon, go, and that sound is going to sound funny. But when you're doing it with the reed and the tube, you're using your voice to create those things. So that's kind of how I practice. But for someone that's new and getting into it, how would you tell them to practice and what to do with the reeds and tubes and how to get better at it?
Yeah, basically it's just start off with cow and calf call and learn those, and then just start playing with the reed and just honestly be a goof with it, and just like you and throw your voice in and just make it like do all kinds of things. The whole trick is you want to teach your back of your tongue and your jaw to learn what to do when you're going up and down, because if you're pushing on the reed, that's your tongue. Your tongue is literally doing this, you know what I mean, the whole time. And that's literally all you have to learn how to do. So just take a big breath of air in your diaphragm and let it out slowly. And I always tell everybody, pretend it's a baby bird. Like, treat this thing like it's a baby bird and hiss like a snake. So literally just really gentle. That's all you're doing. And while you're doing that, arch your tongue up and down like that. And hear what the sounds are doing. It's going to go high, low, high, low. And from there, all these muscles are trained. They're in training to what you're going to do. So a cow call, you're just going up to it, high note, and then you're coming down. A bugle's the exact same. You're just holding it longer. So more air in your diaphragm, and just keep hissing. You don't have to hiss hard, just a little bit more force. And just literally just get longer and longer with it And at the end, just use your voice and just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it all starts with the basic cow call. It all stems from there.
Yeah. And I think that's why I like your Wapiti River reads the most, because you can do so many things and you can get emotional. And I find, depending what your situation is in, you have to show different emotions, and nothing against the push calls or anything manual like that. But I always find those ones to be a little bit limited. And you're like, man, I can only make this sound. I could make a cow sound whine for 10 seconds if I wanted to. And like, you can just do so many different things, and you're in control of that call from start to finish. And it just, you can make them play to whatever situation you're in. So I love them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's right. For sure.
Yeah. What else do I have on my list of stuff? What do you want to talk about?
There was a question there from Corey there. He said, I can't wait to grab one at the elk calling seminar camp beginning of August.
For sure.
So we have what we have is this year we're doing something different. Instead of like classroom seminar, we're going to do a 2-day elk camp. So it's going to be in a spot here where I'm thinking it's going to be in Grand Prairie for sure. I think I have a spot where guys can bring their trailers down and we can have a big bonfire overnight, and 2 days of, in the bush, looking at tracks. Why are the tracks going here? What are they doing? Go through all the scouting, and we're going to do a lot of there's only going to be like 15, 20 people at this seminar.
Right.
The price I had when I was shown it at Red Deer in Edmonton, $500 a person. But I'm going to supply a lot of the food for like the morning breakfasts and a big lunch and a big supper for everybody. And then the Saturday night is around the big campfire, bonfire, everybody's sharing stories and all that kind of stuff. Just a riot. And then the next day we'll be all calling scenarios and, stuff that we couldn't get to on day one.
Right.
It's going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be a fun time. So that's what Corey's talking about there. That's August 1st and 2nd, which is the Saturday, Sunday. Everybody show up Friday evening, sometime throughout the evening. I know people are going to have to travel for it, but the breakfast is going to start at like 8:30, and then we're going to get going from there. So
nice.
If you have to come in the morning, no problem. Come in the morning and join us, when you get there. But preferably Friday night arrivals, and bring your trailer, bring your tent, whatever. And it's $500 a person just because I'm supplying the food, and then we're going to share a lot of knowledge, and it's going to be a lot of one-on-one with me as well.
Yeah.
And I'll have my full-size elk target there. We're going to do shot placement, all kinds of different stuff. It's going to be awesome. So bring your bows, bring your hunting, setup ready to go. Field tips, obviously only for my 3D target, so we don't destroy it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think you mentioned something that I had on here that I didn't talk about. Shot placement and kind of what maybe an elk skeleton looks like, and their bone structures and everywhere else. But if you look at that front leg, it looks a little bit different than a lot of the other animals we hunt. And there's always what I call that triangle that's right there. And if you might be a little bit distorted, but you can see, like, if you follow that leg up, you're going to have your heart right there. And then the rest of this is all lungs. So, we didn't talk about
and that's exactly what I teach at the seminars. Like, literally follow the center to the back of that leg straight up, and literally follow it a third of the way to halfway maximum, and let her fly.
Yeah.
Because you can see, you can miss forward by 6 inches, you can miss high by 4 or 5 inches, and you can miss back by 6 inches easily.
Yeah.
So you have if you follow the center of that leg straight up, or the back of the leg straight up, you have a huge margin of able to, tuck that in. And what I tell everybody, like, pick a little tuft of hair, So you're not shooting at the whole area. You're shooting at a little mud patch or a little hair that's bent one way or the other, and focus on that little patch of hair and shoot that. You know what I mean? And I like guys, especially archery hunting, shoot lots in the summer and leading up to hunting season, so that when you raise up and you put the pin on something, you're basically on autopilot at that time. Like me and Jay and Sheldon and the guys and Brian, we'll all come up here and we'll put my 3D elk target up and we'll shoot that sucker from all different angles, till we're blue in the face and tired of shooting an elk. And by the time you come around to archery season, limit yourself to what you're comfortable shooting. Like me, I don't like shooting. I'm getting old, so my eyes are getting shitty. I don't like shooting past 40 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I can shoot an elk at 15, I'm totally happy with that, because that's a chip shot.
Yeah.
But, limit yourself to your honest shot. Like, we all practice 80, 90, 100-yard shots, but you're not taking those. You're taking 35. My furthest elk I've ever shot was 37 yards. So, and that's over 30 years of hunting.
Yeah, and everyone's going to hunt in a different area. I mean, a lot of people will find elk in the prairies and in farmland and whatnot. Where I go, I mean, man, sometimes it's hard to see further than 15 yards in the bush. So, a lot of times I got my rangefinder on me, but I'm like, everything here is under 20 yards what I have a shot at. So
totally, and it's even harder when you're trying to film or just get some footage of an elk when you call them in. It's like, they're behind all the trees and the leaves, and you don't even get to see the elk. It's like, how do I take a picture of him or video of him? Like, he's not there.
I get it. Like, there's and with me filming everything that I do, I'm like, I can hear them. I can kind of see the beige through a bush, and the camera. It's like, a lot of times I don't get it, because don't get it until it's dead in front of me, because that's how fast is coming. You know where they're coming. You know where they're coming through, and it's there, and it's quick, right? It takes so long to get there, but it takes so quick to happen. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, especially on those ones where you surprise it and the bull just is coming on a string, right? If you can set it up and put your calling station and your shooting station, you're going to have a wide open shot no matter what. But there's always those bulls that you'd give one little sound, rake a tree or a calf call or a chuckle, and he's coming on a string, just and he's coming. You don't have time. You got to set up right where you are, and man, you better hope there's nothing in front of you.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess for anyone that's looking to get reads from you, I know they sell them at a lot of places. I also love the personal touch that you have. So when you go to your website, or whether you text your number to order whatever, you're the guy they're getting. So, I mean, you've answered a lot of our questions and scenarios here today. But when someone's looking to make an order and they're needing some help selecting, you're going to have a lot of suggestions for them based on exactly what they're looking for. So tell everyone where we can reach out to you, get a hold of you to order tubes, cameras, reeds, wallets, wind checker.
Yeah, you bet. Basically just Wapiti River Outdoors, just like our company name, .com. That'll bring you to our website. And you guys can have my cell number, 780-876-2170. Just phone me on there. A lot of times I'm screaming my calls because I get a million calls, obviously. But leave me a message, tell me what you're wanting, and I will get back to you for sure. As long as you leave a message. If you just phone me, I probably won't phone the number back because I don't know who it was. But leave me a message and I'll get back to you for sure. Or you can catch me on Messenger, Facebook,
Instagram,
where are we on?
Facebook.
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. I have a Wapiti page. And I also have a Travis the Truckler O'Shea. That's the one I mostly am on, honestly. Travis the Truckler O'Shea. I'm on the Wapiti one a little bit, but not as much. And I should be. It's the reversal of what I should be, but I run my everyday life like a normal person. So that's who I am on there, right? So
for sure. And if anyone's looking to register for the seminars that Travis has coming out this year, again, email, send him a message. You're accessible. You're not hiding from anybody. Email
and whatever. Then I have all your information, and the email's the same. Company name, Wapiti River Outdoors. live.ca. So
For sure.
I keep it all pretty simple. I should have just went WRO, but I wasn't that smart when we made all this.
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
is what it is.
No, that's awesome. Travis, I thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your knowledge with us. It's in a world, in an outdoor community where a lot of people will tell you to talk to the hand, and I'm not giving out anything. What you do and what you help people with, I know you've made me a better elk hunter, a better elk caller. I've taken things that I've watched you, like I said, 13 years ago, and put them into play. And now with the information that you've given me today with keep raking a tree or bark, it's going to, when nothing else is happening for, what did Travis say? What did Travis say? And that's going to
try something
with me. So yeah,
literally just try something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate you taking time out of the busy schedule. I know you said you had a couple calls that you want to go away. I've been trying to, in the background, think of how we wanted to give those away. But if you're still with us on the live broadcast, thank you for that. Put something in the chat, whether it's hello, I want to read, whatever. I see how many people are watching, but it doesn't tell me who. So I'm going to put all those names into a draw. Drop something in the chat. I will do it on a wheel. I will post it so everyone sees that it's done, and a win checker, a couple new calls to try out. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Do like 4 or something, Jeff. Give 4 prizes to 4 people.
For sure.
That way it's nice. I like spreading everything out like that. Then one person doesn't get everything. Not that we're greedy people or nothing, but the more people that get to try something and win a free call or something, hey, that's awesome. If you slip and happen to hit the wheel a couple extra times, just let me know.
Travis, I just gave away 50 things. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, exactly.
And for everyone who's listening and watching, I hope the information that we've shared today helps you in some sort of way or fashion when you're out there. Get out there in the summer, put boots on the ground, walk the trails, find things, mark them in your phone, know where you're going back to in the fall. I think for me, it's one of those ones where it's a love-hate relationship with elk. And I don't know why I keep signing up to do something that mentally and physically frustrates the hell out of me every year, but it's fun. It's so enjoyable. And when you have these majestic beasts like this guy calling back to you in the wild, it's just, you can't explain it. It's surreal. So,
well, and that's one last thing I should say as well. Like, don't matter if you're a beginner caller or a champion caller, it doesn't matter. I go out there and there's days you can't do nothing wrong, and the elk just scream back, But there's days where I go for a week and I don't even see an elk. I don't see fresh poop. You don't hear an elk. And my wife, Carrie, will tell you the exact same. I come home discouraged and ready to give up, ready to quit. Carrie, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not calling right. They don't like me. Something's not right, blah, blah, blah. And she tells me the same thing every year. Trav, you go through this every year. It's elk hunting. Calm down and get back out there. Things will change tomorrow. And it does. It just, elk are on their own time. Elk do elk things, and we can't push them and we can't make them. So just keep that in mind whenever you're down and out, and we're all down and out. Trust me. Yeah. That's elk hunting. Work through it and keep hustling and get out there, and just eventually it'll happen.
I'm looking at the chat, and my hunting partner Leon, he's actually in Greece. He's got in the airport. He's on his way back now. If he wasn't, he'd be on here and he'd be able to tell you stories about how many times that I've gotten frustrated, just turned around and walked back to camp and said, screw it, I'm done. At the end of a season, I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is way too hard on me. Even times where he'd look at me and he'd be you haven't pulled up the camera in 2 days. Like, are you recording? Are you making an episode? I'm like, there's nothing to record. There's no elk. They're not answering. What do you want me to do? Just talk to the camera, right? It's, but like you said, we've all been there. And I think you're there for people. I'm there for people. We all go through it.
Totally.
Yeah. Sometimes it works night one and sometimes it doesn't work. till the last hour of the last day. And sometimes it doesn't work at all. I went 9 years, I think it was, before I shot my first one. And those hard lessons learned, they stick with you. It's like anything.
Totally.
You're not going to enjoy it if you don't go through the hard part.
And I mean, you can't kill an elk if you're sitting at home on the couch, lollygagging, watching hunting on TV. Get out there and hunt for yourself. Like, go out and do it.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Take a camera or take your bow or take your rifle and go for a hike. And it doesn't matter. Like, you just get out there and follow a trail. And worst case scenario, you're going to walk into something cool. And you're going to be like, oh man, I never knew this was here. Right. So
just being an adventure outside in the outdoors, right? You never know what you're going to come across. I think one of the things we didn't touch on, but I think it's important to say, when you're out in the bush, I think safety is also paramount. And just remember, when you're elk calling, you're trying to call in elk. You're also calling in stuff that likes to attack and eat elk. So cougars, bears, wolves, like there's a lot of dangerous stuff out there. So know that once you're doing your calling setups, if you don't see anything, there's always that chance that there's something that's watching you. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, buddy. Thank you again so much for sharing your voice. Thank you to the audience for joining in, asking your questions. I hope you have taken something out of here that will help you in your elk hunting adventures. But until next time, thank you for joining us on Voices, which has been a podcast by DOA, Doorward Outdoor Adventures.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Awesome. And that's where I'll end where the video goes, but we're still recording and live. But yeah, thank you so much. If there's anyone that has any questions in the chat here, feel free to reach out to Travis or myself. We put you, and we'd love to hear your experiences too, right? If there's something that's worked for you, hunting stories are always good. And I'm pretty sure that we will do this again, maybe later in the summer, closer to elk season, and really dial into maybe an episode built all around questions. I'm not sure, but
maybe we'll do it. We'll do another one maybe in July, early July or something.
Yeah,
maybe we'll give one spot away to the elk count.
That'd be fun. Perfect.
So someone will win an awesome time anyway. So that'd be pretty cool. So,
yeah. Perfect. Travis, just stay on. I'm going to end the live stream, and then it's going to have to do a little buffer for us. But everyone else, thanks for sticking around. Have a great evening.
Thanks, guys.